It's a new beginning, a fresh start. Jessie Marsh takes center stage as the new gaffer for the Canadian men, a team full of firepower.
Larry, good turn. Creates some space for himself. Across, it's in! Overlap by Laurent and Davies. That's an excellent team goal.
A team with rising talent.
Across, Buchanan! It's Chef goal! He does it again!
It's a trial by fire right out of the gate with the games against the Netherlands and France. Mettle will be tested early. The Jessie Marsh era begins now.
A new chapter for the Canadian men's national team is being written, and it begins in Rotterdam, Netherlands, inside Feyenoord Stadium. The next three opponents for Les Rouges are all ranked in the top 10. These are the types of opponents the players have wanted to play against. This is the test the players have wanted to face. And right out of the gate, they face 7th-ranked Oranje, and it's right here on One Soccer. It's Match Day Live presented by CIBC. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside our One Soccer studio. A nice afternoon match. Andy Vacciolo alongside Jordan Wilson and Christian Jack. This is just the second time ever Canada and the Netherlands are facing off on the pitch. You have to go back to 1994. 3-0 victory for the Dutch. Ronald Koeman, the current manager for the Netherlands, was playing in that game. We have the starting 11 for Canada. Take a look at this when it comes to Jessie Marsh. Let's see how the new coach is lining up the team. He has played a little bit more of a 4-2-2-2 is what he said. Some standouts, of course, are Moise Bombito starting at center back, Alphonso Davies as left back, and there appears to be a battle for the starting keeper position as Dane St. Clair gets the start today. All right, KJ, what have been the early impressions of the new head coach?
Yeah, I mean, from all the players, it's been nothing but positive, from when you speak to them and you hear from them. And I think that, importantly, he's hit the ground running. He's had a very short runway, Jordan, to get what he wants to get done. And what Jessie Marsh is he's a clear communicator, but he's a people person. This is a person that has said many times in interviews and when anyone is willing to listen that he enjoys people more than he enjoys winning. And then the winning becomes a byproduct of that relationship building that he is so, positive about. So, look, by all accounts, he's had dinner individually with 4 players. He's met and spoke to everybody else, obviously, before he met with them and had chances to discuss with them. And I like that. I get the impression that he's very self-aware, that he's a good listener, and more importantly, the players are enjoying having him there.
And I'll touch on the last thing you said. I think it's important, especially in this day and age with managers. He's a man who knows who he is, right? And I think when you start from there, then you can go and evoke and put that into a team. So I know it's early. I know it's a start. He's only had a week with the boys, but in terms of someone who is principled, Jessie Marsh is that guy. Yeah,
he does have a leadership council is what he talked about putting together here. And you mentioned the dinner he had with 4 of them as well. And here's a look at where he's been. This is something even yesterday at the press conference, Alphonso Davies even highlighted. He's like, I love the fact that he was a player and then he's coached in different places from Major League Soccer over in Europe. And you can see last being with Leeds United. And he even mentioned, Jessie Marsh did, that he was happy that he was a little bit patient about taking his next gig because then this opportunity presented itself, and he's really happy now to be the national team head coach for Canada. But of course, we've been trying to figure out, based on where he's been, we do have a sense of how he likes to play. We've seen it before, that high press, but now that you've seen it actually line up here, what are we learning about him with this Canadian team?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's ambitious, right? He's gone out right away and thought, I can play what we believe will be with 2 midfielders and then 2 10s and 2 strikers. And of course, those players are going to have to work. They're going to spend a lot of time without the ball today against this very entertaining Dutch side. So it's fascinating to me that he hasn't gone away from his principles right away. He understands that these are enormous tests, and maybe they're not ideal for him to start right away. But I think I want to remind everybody that the rest of CONCACAF are doing World Cup qualifiers right now, and they're playing, lesser opponents. And I know where Canada would rather be. They'd be right here where they are right now, playing this opposition. So they should benefit from that, and I think just lean into it. So the lineup doesn't surprise me. I mean, we'll get into certain aspects of the goalkeeper and different things later, Jordan, but by playing Buchanan with Miller and David and obviously Laren and then Davies still playing at left back, I think he's getting the best out of those players in those specific positions right now.
Yeah, I think so. And listen to the presser as well a couple of days ago. Listen to Jessie Marsh. a few things stood out to me. Immediately, he talked about foundation and the basics. And the big thing for me, just as a former player, he said, who is able to apply them, right? So this is audition. This is that time, first day of school, where everything's clean, you haven't thrown up on yourself. This is the time to put your best foot forward. And these players now, although they know each other, this is going to be that audition as well to see this new era for Canada. So I'm excited.
First day of school, my pencil case didn't have scribbles on it.
Nice highlighters that are ready.
Yeah, and then
fresh.
Day 3 was all out the window.
End of the day.
Well, of course, you know, when it comes to Alphonso Davies, Jessie Marsh has said he's always seen him as a leader on the pitch, but he's challenging him now to be that leader off the pitch. Today, Davies will be wearing the captain armband, and here's what he had to say about his impressions of his new coach.
Yeah, he brought, you know, his knowledge, you know, coaching all over the world, I would say, his knowledge into this team. The quality of his training sessions have, you know, risen drastically, and yeah, I think everybody's enjoying the training session. Everybody's invested in what he's trying to teach us, trying to coach us. We know that we're going to a difficult game. I know this next month is going to be, you know, something special.
All right, what do you make of Alphonso Davies' comments there?
Well, I'm not surprised by them. I know they've generated headlines in Canada after I asked him that question yesterday. There's two ways of looking at it, right? There are some that are saying that suddenly Jessie Marsh's training is way better than, you know, Mauro Biello, John Herdman, whoever. And the other way is, for me, is that I'm not surprised by players wanting freshness. They are going to be drastically better because it's new and they're different ideas and they're being challenged. So I don't necessarily see them as a way of a knock on the previous coaches. I see it more as somebody who's excited to work and understand how to get better. Players are ultimately, and I mean this in all the positive way, they're very selfish individuals. Yes. What can you do for me? And that's what they want. They want to be challenged in that manner. So that doesn't surprise me. I think the bigger story is the fact that he is captain today. We spoke to Jessie Marsh yesterday. We've asked him this conversation. Just so everyone's aware at home, it doesn't seem like they're right now locking him in as the full-time skipper, although I am hearing they absolutely want that before Copa America. So maybe Davies won't be captain Sunday, maybe he will, but there is enormous story here developing, and that is that he is giving him this armband for a reason. He could have easily have gone with Eustachio again, which Biello did in Texas, and he's given him this responsibility for a number of different reasons.
Just hearing Alphonso Davies speak, I've said it for a while, just watching this team and being a fan, but there's a desire to elevate, as it should be if you're a professional player. You never want to stay at a level, you always want to reach new heights, and sometimes it's a certain manager that can maybe bring out the best in a group. But it's still up to these players to accept that challenge and to keep pushing on. So that's what you want to see with this team.
It's always about taking that next step. We've always wondered, again, if that would be the case with Alphonso Davies off the pitch more than anything. Obviously, again, what we've seen on the pitch. But it really is about your best player, the face of your team typically is your captain. We had this conversation a couple months ago on One Soccer Today, if he would, in fact, even be the captain heading into the World Cup. That's usually how it works. And this is what he also had to say about being challenged in different ways by Jessie. And sometimes it's just thinking. Because he said, you know, the first time we met each other, he asked me 2 or 3 times, what does it mean to be Canadian? And the first time, I told him my answer, but then he asked me to sit down and think about it. Questions like that. And if I was to put you in a situation to wear the armband, how would you carry yourself? Those aren't questions that I get every day. Is it time for Davies, KJ, to make this team his own?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubts about it. Anybody who's worked with him will tell you that it is the team's best player. But this can only happen when there is a want and a desire from his side to want it. And I know that he's wanted this for some time. He's talked to me about this when we were in Texas. He wanted that captaincy. So it's one thing to want it. It's then another thing to be given a map to what actually that is. And it is not just simply about pride and ego that I want to lead this team and I'm the best player. You have to understand that he now has to take those players that he's going to be standing with today and playing with, hopefully as a captain for the next decade maybe, and say, what can I do to make them better? And Davies right now, in his entire playing career, has been based on impulse, talent, everything and more individually, what can I do? And he's watched other players, Kimmich, Muller, all these stars in Bayern lead, and he's just had to follow. And so he's shown an example of how to be that leader, but he's not been that leader yet. And that's why Jessie Marsh has spoke about, we want you to have these conversations with these players, Jordan. I want you to be better. And I think that will make him a better player on the field, where he isn't simply thinking about what can I do for me? How do I do anything better for the team?
There are vocal leaders, ones that are yelling and getting the best out of a group. There are players that lead by example. I think for Alphonso Davies moving forward is just to simplify. Simplify what he's doing day in and day out, and that's how he leads. That's how he gets all his... There are so many talented players on the squad. If he's just being simple and gaining the trust of everyone and they're growing and growing, it doesn't matter about the captain armband. It just, for me, it matters that he's leading that group and being his best self. I think the rest will come into play, but this is a huge opportunity, KJ, because this is a new era. He's one of those players with so much experience, so many eyes on him all the time. So it's just about him being his best self.
Trust is the word, though, right? It's the word, right? So if Milan Boya makes a mistake like he did in the past and Davies sees it, maybe it's arm around, it's not walk away, right? And if Davies makes the run and keeps the ball a little bit longer in the attacking third and gives the ball away, maybe it's, okay, my hand up, or Jonathan David understands, okay, pass me the ball, because they've had that relationship building and that trust factor. He doesn't need to do it all by himself. And I think it's understanding what makes everybody else tick and developing it, like anything, strengthening that communication.
Little things matter, body language matters. Even Jessie Marsh had said a young kid, Yanni, coming on in from MLS Minnesota, all Davies did was put his hand on his back heading out to training, and the kid was over the moon. Sometimes it's that kind of self-awareness and knowing how much you're also respected and players look up to you. But with the new coach also comes new opportunities. It's a big day for 24-year-old Colorado Rapid Moise Bombito. He gets the start alongside Derek Cornelius. We'll hear from Bombito after the break.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada, because this journey belongs to everyone.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
Everything happened really fast, and then I got the call from John Herman when he was appointed, and I was just so excited that I didn't know how to react, to be honest. It was just so much stuff to process, and I haven't played that many games too with Colorado at the time, so I was like, wow, it's a great opportunity for me to show myself and get quite, I won't say comfortable, but used to the environment that I was put in. And I think I've done quite a good job with just staying on task and learn as much as I could. And now I'm here again. In every stage of your career, you're going to have a lot of competition. And I feel like with the center back pool that we have here, it's a great way for me to keep improving, but also making sure that I get that trust from my teammates. and let them know that I can really help out and give them that confidence that in the backline, especially, let's say for the Sixers, they have a backline that's solid and that can help out in those runs in behind and cover that depth. And I feel like, yeah, it's a great time for me to show this up. It's just a proud moment for me, and yeah, if that's the level you want to play in, that's the opponent you'll have to face. And to go out there and not be starstruck or whatsoever, you just have to go there and do your thing, play as you usually play, with confidence, calmness, and everything's going to go well. I think it's just another test, another challenge to see where I'm at in my career and how I progress in this sport. Again, it's going to be an honor to play against this caliber of a team, and I just can't wait. I'm excited.
It has been quite the rise for Moise Bombito. He even said the last year and a half, 2 years, the way his professional career has been going, and now, of course, with the national team. He said, if you asked me 2 years ago, you know, you'd be playing against France or Netherlands. He said, I would think you're absolutely crazy. Well, guess what? He's getting the start here today against the Netherlands. What do you want to see from him?
We had former Canadian international David Edgar in the studio the other day, and we were just talking about being reactive and proactive as a defender. And I've dabbled in the center back position a little bit. Not a Moise Bombito, but dabbled. And you can save a lot of time by being proactive. But what also happens is a domino effect. Your right back feels more comfortable. Eustachio and Kone will feel a lot more comfortable in front of you. Cornelius next to you will also gain some confidence. If you're reading situations early and attacking them as opposed to relying on your athleticism, because this is a 24-year-old that has pace. He's very fast. People talk about Schaffelberg and Davies, but he can move, this brother. If you can go and read situations early and really dictate the tempo of the game, that's a great start to a match where you're going to get attacked, KJ.
Yeah, look, he's there for his athleticism, unquestionably. He's there for a number of reasons. You talk about his remarkable rise. I mean, you talk about 2 years ago, the kid's a student, right? Like, he's a professional athlete for like a couple of years. And I bring that up because everybody you speak to about Moise is that they talk about him being wise beyond his years, away from the field. Very mature, great listener, good guy. Once again, another one. There's many of them in this squad. Always willing to learn and listen. Where he lacks the development is as a professional footballer. It's just simple. And so, you know, he's going to get thrown into something today that, he, as he said, he could never have dreamt of. And he's going to be challenged in that. And he's going to make mistakes. But it's how you recover from those moments, right? So this pool of players at this position is thin. And so he needs to take the opportunities of that. And again, it's all about looking towards 2026 and having those opportunities to play in a World Cup and say, I played against the best in the world. I can do this on this stage.
Graduate of the Quebec Premier League, he for sure was watching the TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer. So proud of what CS Saint Laurent did. Yeah, just gave a shout out to the boys too. He's like, hey, come on now, Quebec, CPL, let's go. Well, after today's match, the Canadians make their way to Bordeaux to take on world number 2, France. You can watch it right here on One Soccer, beginning at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. When we return, let's dive into Alphonso Davies. In fact, starting at left back today. Is the net Dane St. Clair's to lose? And what kind of challenges do the Dutch present? You're watching Match Day live on One Soccer, presented by CIBC.
This match is brought to you by CIBC, Canada Soccer's lead partner.
In 5 years, we'll be doing this, but in Japan.
In 5 years, my family will be joining me.
I'll be living in the city.
Not living in the city.
In 5 years, I'll be king of the court.
I'll be playing for Canada.
I'll be playing for Canada.
In 5 years? Where won't I be in 5 years?
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
I do this for my town, my time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Access Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
CanadaSoccerStore.com is the official home for the widest range of Canada Soccer licensed product, match jerseys, and fanwear.
Today we're in Rotterdam, Netherlands, inside Feyenoord Stadium. The Canadian men are prepping for Copa America. The Dutch are getting set for the European Championships. Both tournaments kicking off next week. Can you believe we're already heading into mid-June? And the two go head-to-head today as you continue to watch Matchday Live presented by CIBC right here on One Soccer. Here's a look at the Dutch starting 11. They last played in March against Germany, despite scoring first in the 4th minute. They lost 2-1, giving up the winner at the 85th minute mark. As we welcome you back inside our studio, Andy Petrillo, Jordan Wilson, Christian Jack with you. This is a deep team, as we know, KJ. Tons of history in Euros and World Cup. What are the Canadians up against?
Yeah, well, the sense in Holland right now is one of real anticipation. First of all, they're going to the Euros in Germany. The last time the Euros were played in Germany was in 1988, and they won. So that's just a line right there that people are using. The second one is obviously, as we can see on the screen, they reached the last 8 in Qatar. I was at the last 16 game when they defeated the United States comprehensively, by the way. But they're still mixing around with formation. We put it up there as a back 3. There's rumors they're a back 4 side. You think about some of the players who aren't playing today, and De Jong and Van Dijk and Gakpo, Koopmeiners. So they're not fully at their best. And there's a lot of reasons for that. They play Iceland in 4 days, and in 10 days, as you mentioned, they play the Euros, where they're in a really difficult group, I think, against Poland, Austria, and France. So they've got to get this right. These are not friendlies. That's what Koeman said yesterday. This is a really important game for them, and I think a fascinating test for Canada.
Canada is playing a team, a country, a nation, where football and the methodical way that they play is a part of their DNA. This is not 10 years, this is decades of football that the Netherlands have played that have just been promising, attacking. They play and want to lull teams to sleep. So this is a huge test for the Canadians today.
You always just, as well, when the Dutch are on the global stage, like, when's that next step? I mean, you mentioned they won Euros. I was back in 1988. 4 times they finished 3rd. And then when it even comes to the World Cup, 3 times runners-up. And then another time they were 3rd in 2014.
Although Dutch fans are now thinking of Robben one-on-one with Casillas at this moment.
Yeah. Let's take you to Canada's starting 11 here. A lot to dive into. Jessie Marsh, of course, this is the first time he is managing this team in a match. 4-2-2-2 is more of the formation that he's going with. Let's dive in right away to Alphonso Davies, KJ. Not only is he wearing the captain's armband, but he is, in fact, starting in that left-back position.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's where I want him to play. I don't think he's going to play there all the time, and I think we should expect there's going to be some fluidity, Jordan, in this. I mean, Jessie Marsh has already openly spoken on the record discussions about wanting him to come inside and play in midfield a little bit and get him involved a little bit more. And so if he's going to do that, then I think that includes the reason in some of the selection. So if you're going to have him inside, then you need a natural ball-playing left-sided defender in Cornelius.
Yes.
And I think that might be why he's there. You need someone like Liam Miller, who's played a lot of fullback in his season this year at Preston North End that can necessarily cover on that side as well. So it isn't just about where does Alphonso Davies play, and if you're going to get to maximize the best out of him, a lot of it comes to who do you play with him.
Yes, I totally agree. And with Sam Adekugbe out as well, you're playing him at left back. I agree with you that there are going to be moments where he's playing in other positions. But I mentioned earlier in the pregame about simplifying his role for Alphonso Davies. But when you have a Rolls Royce, you also want to get the most out of it. You want to stunt and show off to your friends. So that could be left back and him bombing down the wing, but that could be him coming and being inverted sometimes. It's about picking those moments. But I would dare say to a manager, I wouldn't dare say that Alphonso Davies has to play left back and he's not going forward. You're using his abilities and all that he has, which is inverted on the wing. I just want to see him take his time and grow into the game, being simple at first. But one heck of a player we have.
When we talk cars, speed, there's a connection there. I just can't figure out Davies, Red Bull. I'm just saying, you know more about cars than I do, KJ. You follow the circuit, that's for sure. But let's go even behind Alphonso Davies now and look at the goalkeeper position. We know Milan Borjan has not been a part of the team the last few call-ups here, so there's definitely a changing of the guard in that position. Is this Dane St. Clair's spot to lose, or do you feel like there's a competition going on here?
I think, first of all, it's a huge decision. And I think it says a lot about the manager that this country now has, that he's willing to do it from day one. Yeah. I asked Jessie Marsh yesterday in our discussion, is this Dane St. Clair's game today and is Max Crepeau's game on Sunday? Because I thought potentially it could be, and he didn't take me on that. So if this is his net to lose, then that's kind of the answer that you would expect. Now, I can't argue that he doesn't deserve the position. I think he does deserve it.
Yeah.
I think that, I've watched Dane St. Clair since he was a kid. I was at the Combine before he got drafted to MLS. Stuart Kerr, his coach in Minnesota, raved about this guy for years to me. He's outstanding with the ball at his feet, okay? And I don't think that now without Milan Borjan and some of the injuries that Max Crepeau's had, the move to Portland, it hasn't always been brilliant every week. I think this was his opportunity. The door was open a little bit, and he just slid right in.
Look, you're talking about sliding right in. I'm talking about busting the door open. When you get that chance and you get to kick it down, this is that time. It brings me back to what I mentioned earlier, Andy Petrillo, about first day of school vibes. This is a time where you have a new teacher. You can be on your best behavior. It doesn't matter what you did before. This is a new era and a new start. Yep. His shot-stopping ability is sensational as a 27-year-old. A prime time right before a World Cup in 2026. You have him at 29. This is his moment. He needs to go and take it and grab it with both hands.
And not only are we seeing a change there, but elsewhere as well, because it's just we become so accustomed seeing Kamal Miller get that start in the center back position. Once again, Steven Vittoria has not been part of this team for a little while now. We've already discussed Moise Bambito getting the start. It's Derek Cornelius who's beside him over Kamal Miller. What do you make of that?
I mean, I like it. I think I like the opportunity that Cornelius is getting playing on that left side. I think also, too, this has something to do with form, I would say, as well. I think coming off of a great season at Malmo, I know that there's rumors for him to move just off of the season and the seasons that he's had and the potential. But the 26-year-old can play the ball forward. He's athletic. I think also he's great at stepping and getting into that spot. I know Kamal Miller is great at that as well, but this is an opportunity for a left-sided center back to play that spot and to own that area around him, KJ.
Yeah, you mentioned the word. It's opportunity. What does Derek Cornelius, when he gets called up for Canada, usually have to do? Fly across the continent. Yeah. He didn't have to do that this time. Who did? Kamal Miller. Yeah. So who got into camp earlier? Derek Cornelius. Who's had the opportunity to play for trophies at Malmo and be successful over the last few months? Derek Cornelius. Camille Miller hasn't done that. He's got to move to Portland, and Kamal's done a decent job there, and he will get his chances. But this is Cornelius' opportunity now. You see it there. He's marking his 19th appearance. He's played 4 times in the last 5 years. He played 1 game in 18 World Cup qualifiers under John Herdman. His opportunities were very few and far between, and that was that Jamaica game away from home where they drew 0-0 and they just couldn't wait to get out. Yeah. And there's lots of issues with it. So he's never had a run of games with opportunities, and so this is that moment now in a big match against some outstanding strikers and forwards that he's got that opportunity, but he's got to take it, because if he doesn't necessarily take it now, he's got someone, in Miller breathing, behind him right there who's shown he can do it and play the World Cup.
A lot's been made of this attack. We're curious to see how the Canadians will adapt to it. What do you make of their shape?
Yeah, I think the shape was interesting because with Buchanan and Miller almost described to us as 10s, I want to see what they're going to do. Now, the Dutch, we didn't speak much about the tactics, but the Dutch play man marking. Okay, so they track you all over the field, right? So what does that mean? You don't get a ton of overlaps. You don't get a ton of opportunities to necessarily create combinations in attacking areas. They're on you. They're suffocating you, right, in defensive responsibilities. But I think someone like Liam Miller deserves his role in this position because of the way that he's played. And now you could easily have said, okay, play Saint-Pierre, pack the midfield, spend 70% of the game chasing the ball, and try and get out there with a reasonable draw, or maybe win the game on a counter-attack. Or you can say, okay, these are our principles, and we're going to try and get the best out of these people. And Miller has had a very good season in England, playing at a very high level in a championship year where they play 46 games. They're playing games every 4 days. I've spoken to people in press, and that's where I'm from. They really love this guy. He's another one who deserves this opportunity by sense of where the games are being played right now, Jordan, rather than coming over here to North America.
For him, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see him on that flank. How much of it is a flank? How much are you actually getting on the ball today? Because the Dutch are really good at going forward and keeping that. But what does that look like? I think what you want to see from Miller is that, when he's running at players, he could be dangerous. There aren't going to be that many times that happens today. So if there are few and far between, you got to make the most happen when they come.
Talking about man marking, Jessie Marsh joked, he said they do it so well, the Dutch, that if their goalkeeper could shadow our goalkeeper, he'd probably do that as well. Up front, it's Jonathan David. It's Kyle Larin. Jonathan David has been somebody we talk so much about, KJ. We're just watching to see if there's ever going to be a move. We know that he can score. He can be prolific. What are you expecting from him under this new manager?
Well, I tell you this much. Ronald Koeman would have spent quite a bit of time talking about Alphonso Davies to his team, but he spent the majority of it talking about this guy. Because this is a player that is lethal and deserves a move, and hopefully will finally get his move in Europe. And we've talked about him a lot. What I like today is that I would encourage our viewers to watch is what David does without the ball.
Yes.
I still think as a defensive centre forward, he's one of the best, and we're very fortunate to see what he does. He allows Kyle Larin to get the glory sometimes and get those goals because of the sacrifices that he puts in. And it's interesting that they've gone with the two of them again. They're coming off very long European seasons. They've got to go to a major tournament in Copa America. I think we should all be hesitant of our expectations that if we think that they're going to roll these guys out for 90 minutes today and 90 minutes on Sunday, then we might be disappointed.
David, you talked about his movement, right? The way that he can check in and be a 10 when he needs to and collect the ball, the way that he's able to press center backs and make their life difficult. That's, for me, probably his X factor. I know he's great at finishing, but today and the day where there's a bit of instability, you're playing against a squad that could run you and hurt you if you're not really compact. His role is crucial of when he steps in, when he tries to get the ball in the midfield, when he runs deep and helps out Larin. He has a big shoes to fill, but he's the guy that I would bet money on. He's the guy that I know that could fill them.
Well, we saw there he has 26 goals. He's 3 goals behind Kyle Larin, who actually has the most goals on the national team in history with 29. He's moved around a little bit, KJ, when it comes to his club career, but he does always seem to show up for Canada.
That's a great point, because some players I talk to, they need that club form, Jordan, to translate into their international form. And international managers would always tell me, with some players, they're biting the nails, keep scoring or keep playing and making sure. And then there are some players who just show up to camp and they are exactly the same every time they put on that red. And he's one.
Yes. There are some people as well talking about Kyle Larin and like, oh, he's starting or a bit surprised. I want someone who will score that chance. When that chance comes, he will score it. And I want a big number 9 who knows how to finish right or left with his head, whatever it is. Especially when he plays for Canada, he puts up numbers. He shows up. It's not just him. Obviously, he's getting the service and people believe in him. But when he plays for the Maple Leaf, he is there. So play him at that number 9 position.
I remember the narrative 2 years ago as they were prepping for the World Cup was they wanted stiffer competition. It was a big deal when they went up against Uruguay. Then it was announced that they'd be playing Netherlands and France back-to-back here before heading to Copa America, where they will begin things against Argentina. But here right now today, KJ, what does it mean to be playing the Dutch?
It's marvelous, no? It's marvelous. It's what these players want. It's, again, the establishment of Canadian football and the respect that we're getting. I remember Alphonso Davies telling me, he would go to international duty and the Bayern Munich teammates would snicker. It's like, who are you playing? Where can we find those guys on the map? No one's looking where you can find the Dutch and the French on a map. Okay, they know. They've got the respect, all right? So this is what we need to do, is embrace it. And, okay, we're going to talk about outcomes later, and hopefully it goes well, and maybe it doesn't. But I'll say this, in international football, you always get chances. I watched Luxembourg against France yesterday for France against Canada on Sunday, and it was 3-0, and the French had the ball the majority of the time, but you always get a shot. You always get a chance, do you know what I mean? It isn't necessarily built the way that club football is built, where the training sessions are so particular, and you're with them every day, and you can get a team go out and you can rout them 8 or 9-0. International football, you can stay in the game, Jordan, and I think Canada can play the way that they want to play today, regardless of the outcome, and come away with benefits.
For the last 10 years, I'll say, closely monitoring, people have talked about Canadian soccer and the culture, right? And the culture that's growing, but the culture that wasn't there, and all this stuff about culture. Playing national teams that have a culture is what you want as a Canadian. I'm getting ready, I'm putting on the blazer today, and I feel like I'm playing. Like, if you're Canadian, you're excited for this match. I'm here with my nice shoes on. I'm not playing. Thank God for that. But You're so excited because of the team that you're playing against. You want more matches like this. I'm sure the players are delighted to play. And this is such a big opportunity, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
Players are excited. The fans are excited. We're excited. Kickoff's right around the corner. We know at home you are excited. What better way to spend your afternoon than watching Canada face off against the Netherlands? And the last time, the only time these two teams actually played against each other, you have to go back to 1994. The game was played in Toronto, Ontario. The Dutch went on to play in the World Cup right after, making it to the quarterfinals. Oh, it was not a good day for our good friend Craig Forrest. 3 goals by Dennis Bergkamp, Mark Overmars, and Frank Rijkaard.
Legends.
Woo!
Big names.
30 years later, Canada and the Netherlands kick off against each other, and it's right here on One Soccer next.
Canada's men's national team on One Soccer is brought to you by Toyota.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
This is not just laundry. This is laundry that's one and done. This is the ultra-fast combo laundry machine that does both washing and drying cycles, so you can take a load off. This is cleaning large loads in about 2 hours. No more checking, no more forgetting. Profile is revolutionizing laundry, making any room the laundry room. This is GE Profile.
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
Welcome to Rotterdam, the Netherlands' second largest city and site of De Kuip, Feyenoord Stadium, and a rare European adventure for Canada, and the first of 2 marquee fixtures over the next 4 days. Canada ready to face the Netherlands for the first time in 30 years, and for the first time ever on European soil. An opponent fitting of the day and occasion. Before the football, it must be said, today one of those poignant days where historical importance still echoes in present time. 80 years ago today, Canadians stood side by side, arm in arm with the Allied forces, storming the beaches of Normandy. Over 14,000 Canadians were part of that Allied effort at Juno Beach, the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms that we enjoy today. 13 Canadian veterans in military uniform, the oldest, 104 years old, who survived the war effort, were part of the ceremony that took place on that very same beach earlier today. Around 160,000 Allied troops landed on the beaches that fateful day, D-Day, 80 years ago, to begin an effort now remembered as the beginning of the end of the Second World War. Those efforts included the liberation of Belgium and right here in the Netherlands. In all, 4,414 Allied troops were killed the first day of the invasion, including 381 Canadians. The Captain Alphonso Davies today proudly wears the poppy on his armband, lest we forget. And as for the football, the enormity of the occasion really matches the magnitude of the job at hand for the new Canada manager, Jessie Marsh, in his first game in charge. Big picture with eyes on 2026 in the World Cup, the immediate pressure to not only perform against some of the world's best, but bring this group together ahead of Copa America, which begins 2 weeks today. The task at hand is simply enormous. Nothing comes easy from the get-go, with 3 games coming against 3 of the top 7 sides in the FIFA rankings. The Netherlands, 7th, have aspirations of their own. They last won the European Championship in 1988, a tournament stage in Germany, just like the 2024 edition. So a friendly in name, but critical preparations for both and potential indicators of where both teams stand and where they need to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and respect for the national anthems of Canada and the Netherlands.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to One Soccer. We've switched from the studio to the watch along with myself, Josh Deming. We are joined by Alex Gonge-Ruzic and my boy
Dima.
I was gonna go for your last name, but I forgot you changed it up.
Dimitri is good too.
He's gonna go by Dima today. We're here for the watch along. So hopefully you guys are excited. Massive match coming up, and before kickoff happens, we're just gonna have a quick look at the starting 11, get our thoughts, and let us know in the comment section what you guys think. So the starting 11, some surprises in Jessie Marsh's very first one. Dane St. Clair becomes the potential number 1 keeper. We'll ask you guys what that means in a sec. Back 4 is Johnston, Bombito, who we all expected to be in this. Cornelius, a bit of a surprise, is Davies going to left back, especially because Mr. Alex here went on a couple of radio stations today talking about how he'd playing high up the pitch, but that's right. You do feel a little bit. I'm curious to see if Adekubi, if he was in the starting 11, if that would change, but he's also rocking the armband. The 2 defensive midfielders, or your 6 would be Eustachio, your 8, Kone. The 2 wide players, Liam Miller comes in, which I'm very excited for him. You have Buchanan on the right, and then you have Laren and David up front. Like I said, the big surprise is seeing Bombito, even though Alex and I have been talking for a few days that he should be the guy going forward in that right center back position. Davies at left back, wearing the captain's armband, and of course, like I said, Dane St. Clair. So Alex, we'll begin with you. Dane St. Clair was the one that immediately popped out to me. We were confident every time we built a starting 11, which was obviously wrong. It's not Crepeau. Are you surprised? What do you think went behind this this decision from Jessie Marsh?
I'm surprised that for the first game it's not Crepeau, but at the same time I'm not surprised because it was obviously an open competition to earn spots, and you can see kind of who came in, battled like a Liam Miller out in the wing to get a spot. And I think I'm not surprised to see St. Clair because he's had a very good MLS season. I think it was something where I wanted to see him get minutes in these across one of these two games anyway. So the fact that it's the first one and that he earned that opportunity, fair play. So that was kind of really the big surprise because, yeah, otherwise, like you mentioned, Davies being at left back was really the only other surprise. But the fact that it opens up an informed Liam Miller is a positive.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into a couple comments here, but I'm going to ask Dima a question too. So, Captain's armband. Dima, what do you think? You like it? I mean, Eustachio obviously was appointed last time under Biello. With the words that Davies was talking about yesterday, I had a feeling, I said this to Alex on our live stream, that I have a feeling that it's going to be Davies. I said just from the way he was talking, it seemed like there was a conversation happening. So I wasn't really surprised, but I don't know what your thoughts are. We don't know if it's permanent. Maybe Eustachio will wear it against France, but for right now, against Netherlands, Davies is the captain.
Well, I mean, Davies has talked about and mentioned in the past that he wants to be the leader of this team. He wants to be the captain, and obviously with Jessie Marsh coming in, he probably realizes that as well. He realizes his not only current potential, but future potential. So Davies is that guy leading this team forward. There's obviously, like you guys talked about, a few changes. Cornelius coming in. I'd like to see at some point maybe Theo Bair as well come in. I think we talked about that just before we started the live stream, just because there's rumors going around. He's had a fantastic season, maybe some championship moves, maybe even a move to the Bundesliga with St. Pauli. That's one of the other rumors that I heard. So he would be playing against this type of top opposition week in and week out if he moved especially to the Bundesliga. So I'd like to see him get a little bit of minutes as well. But yeah, Davies, I mean, it's a no-brainer for me.
Beautiful. All right, guys, in the comments section, drop a like on the stream if you're with us today. Let us know what you think of Jessie Marsh's starting 11 and give you some thoughts. We're going to get into some comments here shortly. Game just kicked off, so if you want to link up with us, Alex, Dima, and myself figured this out just before, but I'm at 30 seconds right now, 31, 32, 33. So if you guys want to link up at home, go right ahead. We'll get into a comment here. We got some score predictions. I see a couple 2-1s, 3-1s. I mean, I think it'll be close. I think I said in my preview that I was thinking like a 3-1 kind of game. Alex, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's a tough call. I'd say probably 2-1 Netherlands is kind of what I'm edging. I think they're at home, big crowd, big game, but I still think Canada finds the board and, has positives to look at under the first game of the Jessie Marsh era. And I mean, so far it's been a minute, but they look up for it.
David's in. David, shoot the ball. God, sorry.
Dima's first watch along, and he's fired right up.
I like it.
I like it. No, I like it.
Shoot the ball, man.
It's exciting.
It's a good pass from Eustachio there. A little slip pass into the half space there.
He was trying to cut it across, but he was just covered. Mickey Van de Ven, man, he's such a good player for Spurs. Oh my gosh, man.
He is, and I think I saw a stat actually. I think Charlie tweeted out that the last time the Canadian men's national team played a top 10 nation was Colombia. Did you see that, Alex? Is that
in a friendly? I think
in a friendly, and we have 3 top 10 nations back to back, which is it should be exciting. It's why Dima's screaming on over there. This is a fantastic test to see how this national team was going to do. And they got off to a bit of a bright start there, only a couple minutes in.
Not bad at all, man. What a time to be alive. And Netherlands, France, Argentina, then it's Peru, then it's Chile. I mean, those are some quality matches over the next month, really. I'm so excited to watch these matches. I really, really am. I'm really, really excited to see how Netherlands kind of respond in this match to that little attack that Canada put up. But I think, like you just talked about it, I think Canada's going to stay competitive in this match. It's not going to be a blowout. You know what I mean? Like, we have some quality players. Although Netherlands isn't starting their super strong lineup or whatnot, they're still very, very stacked. But I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, Alex, they're unattached FC with Memphis Depay over there. So a nice throwback.
How the turntables, right?
Yeah, there you go. Good memory there for us Canadians. But let us know, guys, in the chat where you're tuning in from today. Are you watching from Canada? Are you over in the Netherlands? I've seen a couple comment on that they're watching from the US because they're American and they're keeping an eye on Jessie Marsh. So, Alex, my question for you early into this match here, what are you looking forward to today from Jessie Marsh? Are you looking kind of how they're going to hold their line, how they're going to press? Are you seeing how he's going to adapt to the game, how they're going to do off the ball? What's one of the number one things you want to keep an eye on here early as a Netherlands attack?
Yeah, I'm thinking for Jessie Marsh, I just want to see those kind of hallmarks of his system, which, to be fair, early on, we're seeing the press, how organized the team is, how they're bought in. I understand if there's going to be mistakes or little wrinkles. It is day one. You're not going to expect perfection on day one. That would just be unrealistic. But I want to see those hallmarks take place. I want to see that sort of commitment to those principles. And then I guess from there, just, see them put it together in flashes. You don't need a complete performance, but some nice direct vertical attacks, some good defensive sequences. And, it's only 4 minutes, but so far so good. And they'll just have to keep building off this.
Beautiful. We got some comments coming in. We got a lot of people tuning in from the US. Definitely some curiosity around how Jessie Marsh is going to do. LA, but I'm Canadian. I wish I was in LA as well.
Oh, Buchanan is in now.
Oh, come on. Offside, but that was a good chance.
It was offside. Okay.
That was okay. No, it's still a good chance.
Yeah, that's the penalty coming into play.
That was that late flag coming up again.
I'm enjoying a beer at 2:45 p.m. watching football. Life is good. I don't think you can complain too much about that.
Someone's living the dream.
Can we, guys? Watching from Ottawa. Yeah, Dima's in Ottawa. Alex is in BC. Josh is somewhere near London, Ontario. So we're actually all pretty far from each other.
We are. One thing I want to mention. I don't know if you guys watched the little interview with Alistair Johnston yesterday. I saw him talk about like the tactics of Jessie Marsh and how they're adapting to it, and they're kind of showing it already in these first 5 minutes. Alistair Johnston talked about how it's just going to be closing down spaces and just trying to make things as uncomfortable as possible for teams. That's what they're getting from Jessie Marsh, and I can feel that coming. They're not backing down. They're not just sitting deep and defending for 80 plus minutes of the game. I like to see that. It's like aggressive style of football.
If he can make it work against a team like the Netherlands, I think that'll be very, very encouraging for this side, because look at the way they're pressing.
And they won the ball back. That's amazing.
And the field's very narrow too. I didn't notice this, but like the field looks quite narrow. So they're like closing down space. I mean, one thing to watch is that the Netherlands, by not starting a Cody Gakpo or a Daniel Malin, they kind of don't have a true outlet on the field in terms of someone who can get in behind and cause a threat. Because I think that's one of the areas where you could potentially, of course, beat a press is go direct. So I think that's to Canada's advantage. And I think that's where you'll see the press kind of play out, is that if you want to play out the back like the Netherlands and not have an outlet, that it's not going to be easy. It's going to have to, it's going to be quick one-touch passing. And so far, the Dutch haven't been able to find that combination quite yet. I do think you could tell they miss Frankie de Jong in the midfield very early.
Oh yeah, for sure. What do you guys think about the partnership with Davies and Larin going again with David and Larin going again with the two up front?
I'm just texting. I mean, here, Alex, you go ahead and I'll answer in a sec.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of the partnership, it's tough because I think they've shown so many glimpses where, like, you see that the goal they showed earlier in the broadcast, Jamaica, Larin turns a defender, finds David. They've had some nice connections like that. They've also been super inconsistent together. There's been times where one kind of gets on the island. They're not getting much service. They kind of occupy the same spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I think in theory there's elements of it that can work, and I think Marsh will look to tap into it. I think so far you're kind of seeing it. David's kind of getting a free roll. We've seen him pop up on the left. We've seen him pop up on that right for the earlier chance. I think as long as you give him that freedom and make it clear that, all right, Larin's going to occupy X amount of spaces as more of a target striker, David's going to drop a bit underneath, it can work. Because if not, they do have similar profiles in terms of where they want to be in the box, and sometimes that was a bit of it underheard.
David's definitely got like the bigger work rate off the ball. He just he's like a little engine, that just kind of runs around the field, and I guess gives Larin more of a little bit of a freedom to kind of be that direct guy, right?
Yeah, no, Jonathan David's going to be the perfect, I think, type of striker that Jessie Marsh wants. I think the reason Alex and I had a bunch of conversations around who could potentially start, and Alex, you said the same thing. You said you think for Marsh's system, like Ubo could be a really good fit along with David, but we knew it was going to be Kyle Larin. And that's, and that's what we're seeing. So I have noticed already, David is definitely hanging a decent, like, is playing basically always behind Kyle Larin. Every time you've watched him so far, they're not side by side strikers. There's definitely like he'll drop into the pockets as we probably expected.
Yeah, he's definitely playing deeper. Absolutely, he's like right there. He came into our own midfield.
What about Kone, guys? I know, Alex, we talked about on the preview we did. Oh, that is good.
Davies in a good
position. There it is. Shot.
Oh, yeah.
Good possession patterns there.
Yeah,
both flanks so far. But yes, for Miller, is that
no? I was going towards Kone, just saying how we kind of thought that Piet might get a chance depending on how the double pivot was going to look under Jessie Marsh, but obviously he went with Kone, which means we'll see a little bit more defensive responsibilities. And I've noticed in the first few minutes, I mean, he's hanging back pretty deep. I've seen him in times already behind Eustachio. So I'm curious to see the way that this kind of shapes up. Maybe it's just a straight up double pivot. They're both playing sixes. Is that because look right now, Alex? Eustachio is a good.
Keep an eye on because typically the strong side CM. So right now it's Eustachio because the ball's on the left. The strong side CM pushes up, so we'll have to see kind of how it balances. Like if the ball switches over, if Kone starts to push up, or is it kind of? I think they will be in a similar line and then kind of have one or the other push up. We just don't know how they're going to look in possession. Really,
no, it's one of the cues of pressing that Jesse was talking about. So
I'm loving this work rate here. Like seriously, this work rate is sick.
There, Kone's pushed up a bit.
Yeah. So you're right.
We're not sitting back and we're winning the ball. Like we're making Netherlands to make kind of more trickier passes and really forcing them into mistakes, man.
Absolutely. We're going to go into some comments here. Guys, get your questions in. Anything you want to discuss about the game. We asked some of you guys where you're tuning in from. We got Newfoundland, another California, England.
Newfoundland, that's lit.
Yeah, not bad.
Dan Nimmick's home province. So
it's beautiful. Like I said, a lot of Americans tuning in, but that's a lot of curiosity around the Jessie Marsh signing. But I think Jessie Marsh has done everything he could so far to really, I think, win over fans and the players. Alex, I have absolutely no complaints of anything he's done with the media leading up to this game. And right now, like Dima kind of said, 10 minutes in, this team is pressing. Can they keep it up for 90 minutes? I don't know. But right now, I think they're already
fresh legs, right? I mean, you do
that's
have
true.
Schwanier, Jacob Schaffelberg, Ike Ugbo. Like, yeah, guys, you look at on the bench where you're eager to go.
We talked about the fast guys, man. Like Schaff comes in. I mean, he's the second fastest player in the MLS.
After Bombito, the guy at Red CB.
And Bombito's first, yeah.
There's a lot of there's a lot of speed on this team. There's a lot of athleticism on this team, which is why a lot of American fans and pundits that I've talked to have said like this could be a fit. Is it risky? Obviously, but it could be a fit. Oh, little chance here for the Netherlands.
That's where you kind of see them in possession. They can be so good when they kind of go through the gears and start.
That duel all game between Frimpong and Davies is going to be one to watch because, I mean, both are just quality players, man. You know, like Frimpong had an incredible season with Bayer Leverkusen, won the double, the German double. I mean, he's as good as it gets.
I agree. All right, a couple more comments coming in. Last with the locations, we got Arizona, Las Vegas, and then the Netherlands, Saskatchewan.
The Arizona Coyotes
are these worldwide?
North Windsor near Detroit, a little kind of towards where I live. Nice little ball there. But we have a question. I'm gonna throw it to both of you guys. I can't remember if we fully answered it, but I think it's a good question coming in from Gordo. So does this mean Canada's best 11, except for maybe Crépeau at the keeper position? So what do you guys think? Do you think this, just make it simple, I guess, yes or no. Do you guys think Dane St. Clair, this is an indication he will be the starting keeper for Copa? Or do you think Crépeau will get France and then Jesse will decide after? I just felt like best 11 was going to come out against the Netherlands. So I just feel like this is an indication that, Dane is the guy right now, unless Crépeau does something incredible against France. Maybe not even. Maybe he already had the conversation. Maybe Dane.
So tough.
That's a tough question to throw.
Yeah.
Do you not agree though? Like I expected the best 11 to be this game, and this pretty much looks as close as I would have kind of predicted. Like our starting 11s, Alex, were not much different. Like Liam Miller ended up cracking in instead of Hebert or Kamal Miller, who we both were on the fence about. Other than that, it's the exact same team.
Josh, especially you were the one that was talking about Bombito and Cornelius, man. Like I remember you talking about saying, I think it's going to be Bombito and Cornelius, and look at that, it's Bombito and Cornelius and not Kamal Miller.
I did, but I kept throwing Hebert in there. But even though I don't know, just off of the conversations that we heard Jesse kind of talk about a little bit, but Alex pointed out yesterday in the preview, it was probably a stretch. So I ended up kind of changing my tune a little bit with him to Kamal Miller, but it was a surprise. I didn't expect Davies. And Alex, you want to tell us about your radio appearances today? And
to quickly answer your question, though, I think if we're going to look at anything from the lineup in this game,
Yeah.
I think it's too early to say because I think all this shows is that St. Clair in the early days of camp where everything was kind of open, he's won the first battle. And now we'll have to see if he can keep it because, it's a long game. Maybe we'll see how he performs. He can, come up, make some big saves. And I think Kreppel will certainly have to imagine he gets a look. He's a key veteran of this team. He actually has worked together under Marsh, something that he's one of the only guys who's had that chance because he was there, at least in the he never I don't think he played under him, but he was there when Marsh was at Montreal, so they had some interactions, as he told us this week on the Bouclier Canadien. Stay tuned next week for that in French. So I do think Kreppel gets a look. We had Maxime Kreppel on.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Awesome.
I didn't even know that.
Amazing.
Nice little. Okay.
Here's a question for you guys. Do you think if anyone that's technically kind of on the outside of the starting 11 right now, maybe like a Schaffelberg, I don't know, maybe like a Chouanier, if they're given a chance in these two matches and they perform very, very well, can they crack the starting 11 come the Copa America? Or is there a player that is kind of like on the fringes right now that could perform really, really well in these two matches that could kind of raise a couple eyebrows for Jessie Marsh come the Copa America?
I'm torn a little bit. Like I said, I think this starting 11 is as close to, and I mean, if they can continue this type of performance so far, 15 minutes in, it's gonna be hard to argue. Yeah. I think this is pretty much the starting 11 I'm predicting. My question mark would have been between Dane St. Clair and Maxime Kreppel. The other one would have been Liam Miller. He was kind of the surprise break into the starting 11. If Adekubi's fit, does Adekubi go left back? Davies pushes up. Does Miller? Yeah. So I think Liam Miller has a lot to play for in these next two games, as does Dane St. Clair. Those would be the two players I'm keeping an eye on. As for someone who could obviously challenge them, it would be Kreppel. And then, I mean, Adekubi's not in camp, so I don't know. Who might get the opportunity. Ooh, good chance. I don't know, Alex. What do you think? When you look at that starting 11, you kind of.
I don't know. I'm not reading again. I'm genuinely not reading too much into it. It's friendly. I think Marsh kind of said it too in his one of his press conferences. He sees this team as kind of having 14 and 15 starters because that's kind of how it's been under Herdman. It's been where flexibility has kind of been important. So I think there's still battles. Really, the fact is, other than David, Davies, Eustachio, Kone, those are pretty much your only locks on this team. Because he's still kind of is Laren a lock at this moment. Or sorry, Buchanan's the fifth lock. I forgot him. He's a lock, but is Laren a lock? We don't really know. In the back, Johnson easily, Lareos kind of can push him. The CBs, we have no idea. There's so much fluidity that could go on there. What's going on in goal? So I don't know. I think this is just kind of an early indication of who's impressed Marsh and who could fit his system. But I would not be surprised to see 4 or 5 new names in on Sunday to kind of shift things up and let him have a look. He's admitted that there are 14, 15 guys he already sees as a starter, and that's not including someone like, say, a Schaffelberg, like you mentioned, Dima. If he has a strong camp, you have to imagine Marsh will be willing to give him a look, a Chouanier, some of those other guys we haven't even mentioned.
Come striker options, man. We have so many striking options. We're overwhelmed here. I mean, it's not a bad problem to have, obviously. But if you go David, then you got Laren, you got Ugbo, who had a phenomenal season at Sheffield Wednesday. You got Tanny, who just came in for these two friendlies. Theo Bears, another one that we just talked about. Obviously, Charles-Andreas Brim can play there. There's so many players that can kind of step in and maybe do the job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask, is Jessie been spending some time in Minnesota? Because Tanny gets the call up. Dane's starting right now.
I want to see
between the sticks.
The big mini guy.
I guess. I mean, Minnesota's been impressive so far, and Alex, we talked about it as well. I agree that I think the better keeper in form is Dane St. Clair right now. I don't think that's
absolutely
a debate, but I just felt
this season 100%.
Yeah, Kreppel was kind of the next man up. It seemed like, and I don't have any issues. I think both keepers are pretty similar. It just, I guess, comes down to who impresses Jessie and whichever keeper he thinks will better fit his system. And again, maybe we're reading in too much. Alex is a little more relaxed about it. But I mean, I like reading into it.
Imagine if Herdman stuck the same 11 he had in his first game.
No, it's true. I think the only reason it'd be a debate is because the Copa America is right around the corner, right?
100%.
But again, I could be reading into it.
Offside.
I didn't think Davies was going left back, so. But I did think he was going to get the armband, so I was a little bit right there.
Well, it's tough for Marsh because he has the Copa, like you mentioned, right around the corner, but he also has to look at guys, right? Because it's if he's not going to get a look at them over the next 2 games, why is he going to throw him in Argentina? Kyle Hebert. You haven't seen you over these 2 games. You're starting against Messi. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
No, I think he's going to want it. This is the perfect chance to embed. And that's why the subs are going to be very curious. Like, does he kind of balance it? Because if he uses his subs right, it's a friendly, so I assume he has 6. You could theoretically get a good 18, 19 players on the pitch over the next 2 games, even 20 if you change up the keepers, everything like that. So there's opportunity for him to really get a good look at these guys as he should. Because, yeah, okay, the starting 11 is a good chance to really see how this group gels. And I think this is a good indication for who he views as potential starters, but also got to see what some of those guys off the bench can potentially.
We're going to play a little game here because I agree. A couple points is, if Jesse gets this team to press and play this way, some substitutions will definitely be important.
No, we need it.
Especially for like in this game, but let alone a turnaround. So let's play a little game here, guys. If you're in the chat right now, let us know what player off the bench you're really looking forward to hopefully see under Jesse. And we'll each go in a little circle right now. I'll go first, and then Alex, and then Dima, and we'll each do it twice, and we'll basically come up with subs. And I know that depending on the game, we could see different subs, but just get a couple in your mind right now who you'd want to see come off the bench. The first one for me is Chouanier, just for reasons that we've talked about. I think he could fit this system. I'm assuming he have to come on for like a Kone, which I guess is a little deeper than he usually is, but maybe they push him out wide, Alex. Like, he could maybe come on on the left-hand side for Liam Miller. Maybe that's a little bit more realistic, but that's a player for me. So, Alex, who's one for you?
I'm going to go Ike Ugbo. I thought he could have very well started this game. I think the way he plays for Sheffield, they play not quite a similar system, but off the ball, he's asked to press, and he's done a good job of it. It's impressed me sometimes in his games with Wednesday that he's been aggressive in his defensive game. Push Kyle Aaron, show that, Kyle Aaron's he's the all-time men's top scorer, but that spot isn't safe when you've got Ugbo, you got Bear, you got Russell Rowe, you got all the Wasey, you got Brim. Like, it's just so deep. You got to show there's competition. I think Ugbo's been the chief among those that deserves a shot.
That's fair. I mean, I think I know where Dima's going, but who you got coming on?
I'm a Theo Bear fanboy. I want to see Theo Bear come on the field, score one, and move to the Bundesliga. That's what I want to see from Theo Bear. I mean, all jokes aside, he had such a good season at Motherwell. Those rumors coming in is just fantastic to hear. Shot by Frimpong, it's high and wide. That's okay. But yeah, Theo Bear for me, I want to see him come in, at least get a couple of minutes just to see whether it's a partnership with David, whether it's a partnership with Laren, or maybe it's just Ugbo and Theo coming on together and just kind of seeing what they can do as a partnership. There's so many different opportunities. But I'd like to see him get some minutes. Absolutely. I think he deserves it.
No, that's fair. I think profile-wise, I would be interested to see what like a Bear David could kind of look like. My next player is going to be Kyle Hebert. I've talked about him a lot. It's not the sexiest maybe substitution you could ever had, but like I said, I mean, Jessie Marsh has talked about him. He's familiar in this Red Bull style. I could see maybe like Liam Miller coming off, Davies going up to left mid, Hebert going at left back. He can kind of cut in and become a center back in a back three if need be, depending when they decide to press. A little coverage from Davies as well. It's just a player I'm very curious to see just because of how Jessie Marsh was talking about him. Alex, what about yourself?
I'm going to go Schaffelberg. Get some speed, get some direct play going down the flank. Maybe Miller won't be able to run all day, or Buchanan. He hasn't had the most minutes at Inter. He's been playing regularly, at least heading into this summer, but never more than 20, 30 at a time. Get some Schaffelberg. He scored a great goal to confirm their spot at the Copa America. Let him run free against some tired Dutch defenders. I bet he could give Daley Blind a run for money if he gets isolated against him 1v1.
Well, talking sexy substitutions, I mean, the Mullet Man's definitely up there as one of them. And I've seen a couple guys in the comments say that Schaffelberg is an exciting one to see off the bench. And whether it's a good or nice ball from you, Stack.
That was a great set piece there. Something different.
Nice. Corner. Let's go, baby.
Set piece. Eustachio, that was a targeted ball out wide to Bombito, who's obviously 6'3".
And he's super fast.
Some set pieces. We've always kind of said about how the set pieces can look a bit. How do we say? It's like you're at rec league and you just kind of throw a guy on the corner and you say whip it in the box and you just kind of attack it. Right? No, there was a bit of coordination there. You could see right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He hit that cleanly. We got a comment coming in that where's Dwayne De Rosario? Why isn't he been called up? He's at the TNT tournament right now. So if you want to tune in and watch him ball out, yeah, you could. There's a way to do so. All right, Dima, last player for the game for our little game we played.
You know what? I want to see. Oh, nice ball! Come on, nice corner. Let's go. I want to see Junior Hoylett come on, to be honest with you.
I'm a fan of that.
I'm all right with that, man. Get some, some of that older muscle, older brain, older, experience onto that field, man. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. And he's always performed well for us. He's been a very, very good player for Canada for years. So I'd like to see him under Jessie Marsh.
Look at that little set piece right there.
Short twice in a row. What's this? I mean, they didn't end result, but obviously Marsh, first week of charge, you put some time into some set piece training.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like after 24 minutes now, I'm not disappointed. I'm actually more impressed than disappointed. Like this is going extremely well, I would say. Like we're not out of touch with the game whatsoever. It's arguable that we've been the better side, to be honest with you. Possession has probably been equal, I would say, as well. I haven't seen the exact stats, but I mean, Canada's had the ball quite a lot in the first 25 minutes, and they haven't really given any, open spaces or any huge opportunities to this Netherlands side, like whatsoever.
No, I mean, for Jesse's first game, 25 minutes.
Yeah,
I think he would take this.
There's been no glaring mistakes either.
No.
There hasn't been any clear hiccups, like the system's not working.
Yeah.
To your point, Dima, it's 60-40 right now for the Netherlands. Not surprising.
Okay.
A lot of that's been passes around the back. I mean, possession, as we know, is a flawed stat. 3 shots for the Netherlands, 1 for Canada. Anything of note? No, not really in terms of note. See there, 109 of the Netherlands' passes have been in their own half.
Okay,
so that's pretty much stop-cutting their possession. In terms of opposition half passes, they're both tied at 48. So they've been in each other's half just as much.
No, it's a promising start. We got Kilo saying happy belated birthday to Hoylett as well, and I just wanted to touch on him because Dima kind of brought him up. I don't think Hoylett could have done any more during his kind of short spell with Aberdeen than what he. I think those performances are the reason he's here, and it's good. We always kind of talked about moving on from the old guard, but I mean, basically the old guard's almost all gone except for Hoylett, and I think from what we've seen, he's got more to give, and especially someone coming off the bench with quality like that. Watching him whip balls in the Scottish League for fun just shows when he comes off the bench and there's a set piece or there's looking for bit quality coming down the flanks. He's a perfect option to have. So I'm really excited to see him in here because I would say when you look at the old guards, if some of the Canadian fans wanted to see kind of move on, we had Borjan, who's no longer being called Victoria. Hutch obviously retired. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but there's somebody else, and then Hoylett was kind of one, but he's the younger of all those players, and I think he's still got something to push on for.
What do you think about Osorio?
Osorio was kind of one that some fans were. I just don't think Osorio's time at the national team is done quite yet. I saw a lot of, and Alex talking about Jessie Marsh's Red Bull, like the New York Red Bull team. Good turn. Nice save from Big Dane.
And it's offside. I guess there's VAR with that delayed flag, so it's good to know if there's any incidents.
Hey, I always like seeing our keeper make a good save, even though wouldn't have actually counted because it was offside. But
Johnson got who got in there?
That's me, Van de Ven.
Jeez, Van de Ven's been everywhere.
Oh man, he's an absolute monster. That guy, man. Van de Ven is a monster.
Yeah, he's fast. I can't remember the stat I saw. But yeah, he's quick.
He's just like this tall. He's kind of lanky, but he's so I think he's 6'4" or something like
strong. Like he's just strong. He's not even. I wouldn't even say lanky. I'm saying lanky because he's tall.
Similar profile to Bombito, actually. 6'4".
Fast. Yeah, he's like super muscly. There he is.
All right, I'm gonna go down a little rabbit hole here. Just because I just thought of it. I was gonna ask you guys if you guys ever been to the Netherlands. Because I have, but
I have as well.
You have as well. Okay, where did you go again, Alex? Were you?
I went to Amsterdam.
Okay, I did too. I didn't go to Rotterdam, so that's where they're playing right now, and I heard it's also a very beautiful city. But I thought of that, and then I asked that. Then I thought of another thing is that Derek Cornelius had some rumors. I don't know how legit they were, but it's always fun to talk transfers. There were some rumors linking him to Feyenoord, which if they lose some of their players,
that's sick.
They're moving on. I mean, but the game's being played in in Rotterdam right now. They're playing the Netherlands. I'm sure there's going to be a bit of an eye.
That's the cheapest scouting trip you can make.
I'm going to say.
Own stadium.
Like I said, I don't know how legit it is, and I don't want to get any fans excited because I think Derek's in a really good position right now with his side. But I do agree that Feyenoord would be a big step up from Malmo. So I'm all for it. So maybe I can just kind of think that. But I mean, hey, there's a good opportunity for him so far, and he's looked pretty comfortable. So far, I like what I'm seeing between Cornelius and Bombito.
Yeah, I like the partnership, man. The partnership is looking good. Cornelius had a very, very good season too, right? He had a very good season at Malmo. And I wouldn't be surprised if those rumors that you were talking about are true. That's a nice ball. There's Frimpong.
Frimpong. Davies.
But Davies is so fast, man. He's so fast. Like,
so is Davies. That's gonna be a good little battle there.
Right? Out. Nice.
Let's
go.
Let's go. See, that's the one thing. Yeah, we talked about a lack of speed up front, but they don't have a lack of speed out wide. And that's something I did notice with Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso. Frimpong almost plays like a winger. That's why it's funny sometimes to be talked about as a fullback. And you kind of see it there when you can kind of get him out from making those deep runs. He's so rapid, and he can kind of sneak behind it.
I feel like over the last couple of years, it's been like this new wave of center backs. They're just more fast, they're more agile, because you had like the super stay-at-home center backs that just kind of, never cross into the opponent's box or whatnot, or half. But now you're getting these types of center backs like a Bombito, like a Van de Ven, who can play left back, can play center back. They're more athletic, they're more agile, and they're just so hard to beat. You know what I mean? Like, so hard to beat.
Better on the ball too,
and better on the ball. Absolutely, much better on the ball.
I think it's the Dutch were ahead of their time with total football, because I feel like we're kind of seeing a resurgence of the fact that now in the modern game, no matter what position you have to play, there's a certain baseline of technical skills, athleticism, even as a keeper, right? Like, you have to be good with the ball at your feet. If you're quick off your line, it helps. And that's it. Because if you think about it, a lot of those guys, slower defenders, bulkier defenders, with how the game is played now, which could be at such a high pace, so direct, like those kind of guys can sometimes get exposed. And having that sort of speed and whatnot at the back line makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the speed and the athleticism of our center backs, at least, a big part of Bombito, I think, is the reason that he's going to be Jesse's guy at the back going forward. Even though, it seemed crazy. I was talking about it for the last couple of weeks, and I don't see another way that Bombito doesn't start and he's not looked at as the guy. And some are like, well, Joshy doesn't have any caps for Canada. Why are you so confident? And I just think that the points you guys pointed out and what Bombito brings is the reason. So I'm
right there.
I'm excited. Alex, I know you've watched a lot of Rapids this season so far, and I know you like what you've seen.
Why do you guys think that, and I've had several people ask that in the video comment section, why hasn't Bombito been looked at more towards the bigger European sides? More of a late bloomer, I would say.
Yeah, he's 24 right now, but
he's 24.
He just came into MLS. He's not.
It's only his second season. So last season he got drafted, and then
Frimpong.
Wow,
get it out. That's the best chance.
Yes, to return to that, he got drafted last season. Then he was supposed to be a starter right off the beginning, and then he got injured, and that kind of and then it was a rough year for Colorado. Bombito had national team duty. It was just so choppy. So this year's kind of a fresh start for him, because last year he played a bunch at left back instead of its natural CB position. Now Chris Armas has come in, a former assistant of Marsh. So Bombito's been learning straight from the Red Bull source in terms of how to play this way. And now he's kind of finally got his chance to blossom for first real full season, it feels like. So that's why I think the interest is only going to come if he keeps this up, because it's been a good 16 games. Now you just got to build that body of work.
Not a good sign here.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys caught that. It looked like it was a little bit of a coming together, but then he quickly ran away from the play, and it looked like I don't think it was a contact injury. I think it was just kind of the way he landed, but I don't know.
No.
He doesn't look.
That doesn't look promising, man. No. Oh, he kind of came down on the ankle, man.
Yeah, it's an awkward contact there. Let's see.
Oh, he's getting up. He's getting up. Those ankles are made of steel, man. We're good. Don't worry. They're professional footballers.
I hope so. Maybe this was just the return of the Milan Borjan injury break.
Yep.
Jessie Marsh taking the time to address a little hiccups tactically. Derek Cornelius getting a good earful of things to look at.
Alex, 33 minutes in, 34th minute. Rate it out of 10, the performance so far in the effort. Out of 10, 34 minutes in.
I'd say it's about an 8 out of 10. I think I'm not
Let's
going to
go.
give it a 10 out of 10. That's a high bar. But first 33 match or minutes under a new gaffer. You're playing a top team on the road in a packed house. You haven't conceded. There was a few hairy moments, but there was always going to be, and they've survived it. I'd like to see a bit more from them offensively, of course, but I think all things considered, you can be very pleased with this. And there's still room for growth.
I think we have to not forget that this is away as well, right? Like this is not on a neutral ground. How the Copa America will be. I mean, although Argentina will probably have a lot of Messi fans and
90% probably.
Yes, yeah, but the other two, I think they may be obviously pushing a little bit in the Chile and Peru favor, but we'll have some Canadians there for sure. Here, you look at the crowd, it's all orange, right? I mean, it's all orange.
What do they say in Dutch? Like something orange or how
orange, yeah, orange, orange.
Davies,
let's go.
Josh, you're pretty familiar with Dutch. You might have a better. That's one language I've quite heard enough of in my life.
Yeah, I don't know a single word in Dutch except orange. Maybe that's it.
I grew up in a small town that has got heavy Dutch influence, but I didn't go to the Dutch school or anything, and none of my family's Dutch, so I don't actually really know. Despite I probably should know a little bit more about it, but
goal kick.
No help for you guys.
Yeah, so I was gonna be like, oh, Josh, you can throw us a bit of
no, I wish
the lifeline.
I like that Bombito's being vocal in the back there. They're talking to each other, man.
I
like that.
To play out of the back there too. I think. Well, Kone, I don't know how he didn't get whistled for a foul there. He got cleaned out when Bombito played him that pass. But they're trying to build out a little bit and not just
that's a foul.
So direct.
Easy foul.
Kone's been great. I feel like so far he's had some good moments.
You had no nerves about him playing a little bit more defensively, Alex?
Well, I don't think it's a problem, especially in possession. I just think it's something where there's more you can get out of him if you play him higher up. But it was just more defensively. I mean, so far you haven't seen him get exposed defensively, so that's key. And look, you can still distribute from deep. It's just he can shoot, he can make that final pass, but sometimes that's the sacrifice of midfielders, right? You have some midfielders like, isn't that the whole principle behind Xavi and Iniesta? Their whole careers, they could be dangerous in the box, but they were so good because it helped you from deep.
At first, it was David going deep to collect the ball, and now I see Laren going deeper to collect the ball, and kind of David is standing up front. Oh, David, let's go, Fonzie, let's go.
Oh my!
Oh, let's go. That's a foul, ref. That's a foul. Thank you. Come on, man.
He's turned up the gears there,
bro.
Canada trying to push the pace up before the half. I guess that's probably what Marsh was saying at look, halftime's coming. If you're tired, you can get an electrolyte packet and a granola bar at halftime. Just ramp up the energy. It's been a good little uptick here in the last.
That matchup, I'm telling you, Frimpong versus Davies.
I see Johnson getting forward, which we haven't seen a lot of, in the last few years for Canada too, which is nice.
Something that Alex has been begging for.
Oh yes, he does it so well with Celtic.
I mean, he's got a very tough assignment today in Van de Ven. Like,
who's playing left wing, right?
Like left back, but they're kind of just, if Johnson's going forward, he's got Van de Ven there. I mean, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Or is he playing? Yeah, no, Van de Ven is playing left back. Yeah.
It's been
or left, I guess, left wing back.
But it's been weird because I thought it would be a 3-5-2, and it's been a lot. Look at this. This is a 4 in possession. It's Blind and De Ligt, and Van de Ven, like you mentioned, is playing like a wing back. It is.
He's playing like a wing back now, yeah.
But then it's not a 3, so it's been a bit of a fluid formation from the Dutch. Because then you have Geertruida, who also can kind of play as a CB. He's playing as a wing back, so it's like it's very in possession. It's an aggressive, I think it's because of Verbruggen's ball playing ability.
Look at Van de Ven.
Bro, this guy is okay. This guy should be in a 100-meter dash. I don't know what he's playing.
And that ball. Cornelius.
Cornelius, man. Put Cornelius in nets.
Van de Ven, but he looks like a winger there, cut down the line, perfect cross into the box.
Man, those Feyenoord,
those Olympics for the Netherlands or what?
Those Feyenoord scouts there, you think? That was.
Look at him go, man.
Yeah, Van de Ven's
Johnson,
that's insane.
Yeah, but look at this. Look at such smart defending from Cornelius, man. That's such good awareness. Watch him. He goes, then he cuts right towards the net. He's like,
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that was really well done.
Lucky number 13.
Okay, look, they're putting out fires if they need to. Yeah, it's not been easy, but never was going to be against this team.
Alex, I usually send Alex like before the roster drops my predicted numbers because Alex and I are number guys, so we like to kind of predict. Oh, that's a good ball. Oh,
my goodness!
How did that stay out?
I don't know what happened there.
Was that Laren? Laren headed it out, I think.
See, that's another asset that Laren does bring on the pitch that isn't talked about. I see it a lot with Mallorca is his set pieces, especially defensively. Mallorca had to do a lot of defensive set piece duty this year.
The chat saying it might have been the post. I haven't seen a replay yet.
Yeah, we got to see it.
I don't know if the chat's like ahead of us. We're at least I'm at.
I think they're probably ahead of us.
Yeah, 39 equal. 39 equal here.
Yeah, we synced up before. Us three are good.
At least we're not going to spoil anyone's any goals for anyone unless you're on a dud.
Bombito versus Brabi, another interesting one, and then Depay is in there as well. Now,
well done, John Sten.
Out, nice.
I feel like
the defense, man. The defense. I'm digging this back four, man.
They're putting in a shift.
I'm digging it, man.
So far. Let's see this chance. So they're not going to show it.
I think we need to get to halftime here at that 0-0. Just get to halftime at 0-0. Take that 45 minutes because right now the last couple of minutes it's been pretty much all Netherlands here. They've had several opportunities.
Well, Canada had that jolt, and then
something we could maybe take away from this game. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what Jesse's ideal situation was. There's no post. There's no post there.
From Laren.
Yeah,
with the shoulder.
But no, I have a question for you guys. Kind of for it. I don't know exactly what Jessie Marsh was thinking with Davies. We kind of expected that he was playing up the pitch. I did too. I was surprised to see him at left back. Do you think because I think he's playing really well at the back right now. I think this back four looks good. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. This game could obviously turn on its head, but let's just say they finish up the game the way that they're playing right now, which is strong, and maybe they pick up a clean sheet. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Just good performance. Do you think that's going to make Jessie Marsh think, being like, okay, maybe we do keep Davies. This is where he's best, or do you think, or like, you know what I mean? Like, if he has a really good game here, do you think that's going to maybe change the way Jesse's projecting what he wants to do with Davies?
I think, I'll be quick because I know Alex will be the more technical guy on this. I think it really depends on the situation, man. Like, it really depends on the situation for me. Maybe it's one of those things where we need a W against Peru or something, or a result against Peru or a result against Chile, and we need to score some goals, and he puts Davies more as a left winger and slots someone else right behind him, like an Adekube, like we talked about. Or maybe he sees that this is the formation that could give Canada the more, I guess, overall success in the long run, with Davies playing as a left back and maybe cutting in invertedly, like KJ talked about in the pregame. Maybe that's an option. So that's where I stand. I think it depends on the situation for me.
Alex?
Yeah, I think I agree with you in that sense, and I think that's something Marsh has talked about. Like, there's no perfect answer because there are some games where, like right now, the fact that Frimpong's on that right side, it's been nice to have Davies back there.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have anyone but Davies there because when you're facing against Frimpong, absolutely.
But then it also depends. Maybe you want that speed and attack from Davies, but it also does help that you do have a Miller right now. And
nice save.
That was a great save from St.
Hey, let's go.
It's nice you have that option like Liam Miller, and right now there isn't really another true left back. Like we mentioned, Hebert can play there, Kamal Miller can play there, but the reality is Samu Adekugbe being back and healthy would be a big difference maker, and maybe you free up Davies. So look, I don't mind, and I think this is a good showing right away under Davies, because we really just rarely saw Davies as a true left back under Herdman. It was always always a wing back or whatnot. And so far, he's responding to the challenge and showing that if you do throw him there, he can bring a lot of what he brings for Bayern. Sometimes the issue was in the rare moments where he did play left back for Canada, he wouldn't kind of play like he does for Bayern. It would be a bit too aggressive and whatnot. So far, I think he struck a good balance.
Remember when he was cooking Barcelona? You remember that? Oh, man, just cooking Barcelona. And even in this game, you could see that he's had the flashes, and when he does have that opportunity and he sees that there's an opportunity to go forward, he'll go forward, right? He already put in a couple of crosses. He's gone through about 3 or 4 players before being fouled. So when he sees an opportunity, he does go forward. But, just having that dangerous player like Frimpong, I want to see, Alphonso Davies against him. I don't want to see anyone else, man. I really don't.
I think that's fair. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I'm curious. Like I really don't. Like I said, that's why I asked you guys. I don't know, and I mean we won't really know until we see what maybe Jesse does against France or what the final squad looks like, and if Adekubi's in there. But I mean, we know Davies is a good left back, and I mean when you go up against big nations like the Netherlands, and you can have this back four that has never played together. By the way, like these 4 players have never played together.
I was just gonna say, yeah,
and they look so far. Don't want to jinx it, but they look good. They look comfortable. They look composed.
Like there hasn't been any 5 alarm chances.
No.
Like there's been a few close calls, half chances, but there hasn't been anything where there's like, ooh, that's a catastrophic break. Yeah.
Handball, ref, handball.
On who? There was hands all over the gap there.
In the box on one of the Dutch players. I think maybe it was Depay, possibly. Do you guys think though? Let's say if he keeps David or Davies at left back, do we have enough quality?
Sneaky little ball.
In the box where you want him.
Oh God!
Oh my goodness, Laren, that's why you want him on the pitch. You haven't seen much of him in the last 20. You want him to pop up in a moment like that. That was a nice build up there.
That was nice, man.
Run. He was
and they
patient.
fell asleep. The Dutch fell asleep.
David Dummy. Oh, Laren, yeah, we should have at least. How do you go wide from there?
That's the best chance of the game. It's got to be the best chance of the game, except maybe the Cornelius clear there. That's it. Going back to my little question, do we have enough quality to keep Alphonso Davies as a left back?
I think yes. I was gonna say Liam Miller is a great example. Of a player that I've been looking for a player like Liam Miller to break in for a while. I mean, I know Jacob Schaffelberg is a fan favorite. I still prefer him off the bench, but I think what Liam Miller has done in the championship this season, the way he's used to playing as a left. We've seen him play as a left wing back. I've seen him play as a right wing back, left mid, right mid, left attacking mid. Like he can play all over the flanks. And he's the type of player too that he's got an incredible work rate, which is probably one of the reasons I think he broke into the starting level right now. But I mean, Alex, I know you know this. He can hit him. You don't know if and when it can happen.
That
he can hit him.
Basel, he scored 10 goals there. A lot of them were bangers. If anyone remembers that Basel.
Look at the pressure again, right before halftime. We're starting
just
like we ended. We're ending just like we started.
Those packet of electrolyte gels are in the future. Oh my! Well, Bombito, time to show that speed.
Oh, Dane! Big boy Dane!
Let's go!
Oh,
that recovery run too from Bombito, because I think he got a foot on that shot. I don't know how. Robbie had like a good 2 feet on him in the race. I have to see this back because highline Bombito's.
Yeah,
Robbie kind of got snuck behind, but Bombito.
Yeah, Robbie's fast too.
Bombito made it uncomfortable. He made it uncomfortable. He caught up.
That is, I mean, yeah, Robbie's very fast. That's a good save for Dane Sinclair. No, that's an excellent save. I thought maybe Bombito got it there for a sec. No, that's an excellent
save. But Bombito, the catch up, because Robbie can feel him breathing down his neck there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Dane's gonna make it so difficult for Crepeau, man. He's gonna make it so far. Like he's gonna make it difficult.
He's making a good case for it, man. He's definitely making the good argument because he's made 2 saves now. The one at near post with his hands, and then now this one. This one was obviously far more impressive than the first one. But wow, and he's better with his feet too. Is he not?
Well, no. Crepeau statistically has been his stats are very impressive in terms of passing out the back. I have looked at it. Sinclair is good with his feet. He's good, but Crepeau is like elite with his feet. I think it's something with Crepeau or with Sinclair. He's a clear upgrade on like a Borjan, say, but Crepeau is still, if you're looking at pure passing out the back, Crepeau has proven with his statistics that he's one of the best in MLS.
So boys, 45 minutes. 0-0. I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm good with it.
Moment of the half. We got a question coming in for you guys. Moment of the half. I'll let you guys answer in a sec, but chat, if you guys are with us, drop a like on the stream. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from the half. I have a few. I just put a tweet out. I'm sure Alex is doing the same thing. We'll go through them. The moment of the half, one soccer question right here. Cornelius, goal line. Dane St. Clair, breakaway save. Laren's miss. I'm torn a little bit. I'm going to go with Dane St. Clair. He's really, really impressed me so far. But so I say the two players who have impressed me the most, I'm gonna say Dane St. Clair is number one, and I really like what I'm seeing from both center back for the partnership so far. But I mean, that save from Cornelius was something special. Let us know what you guys think in the chat. What was your guys' moment of the half? Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so far the St. Clair stepping up and putting in a big shift in that has been positive to see. You know, he had to make 2 big saves there. It was quiet for the 35, and then he had to make 2 big saves at the end. That's what you want from your keeper, especially, again, the new back line, growing pains. Netherlands went direct in that one, and then they had some nice sequences. And, other than that, I think you're going to go big moment of the half. Yeah, I'd say Cornelius. Cornelius had some big blocks, some big clearances. Bombito has been solid as well. Although I don't know if you guys caught it, picked up a bit of an unfortunate yellow. And then, of course, on that last sequence there, maybe not the best, but that's what I like about having the speed of a Bombito, is that he can make aggressive reads like that one he tried, right? Because if that works, boom, he looks great. You win the ball high up the pitch. But he can also get away with it because he made the recovery run to help make up for it, right?
Quick question for you, Alex, before you throw it over. If for some reason, he's got the yellow now, like you just mentioned, if Jesse's looking to maybe take Bombito off at some point, is the obvious replacement Hebert? Do you go with the 2 lefties and bring on Miller? Because
I think you go Miller.
You go Miller, so you push Cornelius probably over to the right and slide Miller in the left.
That's what I guess is what Marsh would go for.
Yeah. All right. And I'm seeing the chat here. I think the number one thing I'm seeing is Cornelius's goal line save. And I kind of pointed it out. I thought the thing I liked most about it is that he recognized where Dane was on his line. He was making a run towards the ball and then veered off, and it was just perfect coverage, as well defended. Dima, what do you think? What was your moment? Or is it just Jesse? Is Jesse your moment?
I think
he's been great.
Jesse Ballman. I kind of want to go with what you said. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from St. Clair. He's making a big case for himself. Like, this is Jessie Marsh has some thinking to do after this performance so far in the first 45 from Dane St. Clair. But then also at the same time, I think the other, just besides the Derek Cornelius goal line clearance, I think is just the work rate and the effort that the back line is putting in here. Like, it's not just Derek Cornelius, it's not just Bombito. Alfonso Davies is in that conversation as well. Same with Johnston. I think he's been pretty good. He's been trying to stick to Mickey Van de Ven as much as possible. You could see it. He's really trying his best to keep up with him. And a few times, Mickey Van de Ven kind of had the best of Alistair Johnston, but I still think that back four has been very, very good. They've been very competitive. They're not letting in a lot. They're kind of, swarming the forwards. You can see even on the replays right now, they're swarming the forwards. They're passing it out. They're playing out from the back. It's really, really, I love this style of football. I really do. It's awesome.
Our back four has been, in the Canadian soccer fan base, our back four has always had question marks around it. So I just find it very fascinating that this is probably the highest ranked nation we've played in a while. Obviously a while. I'm just trying to remember what Belgium was, but to see this brand new looking back four. Yeah, I can't remember. Like, if they're,
I'm not sure what
they might have been higher.
2022. They're probably 5th or 6th at that time. Probably
did not do well against Croatia. We did do well against Belgium, though. That's why I was like, I can't remember. But regardless, it's been a while. This is a brand new looking back four with a new manager, new tactics, new ideas. It's been very encouraging. So guys, keep letting me know in the comments. We're going to try to get to as many as we can. There's some good ones here. I am seeing a lot of Jessie Marsh being brought up. The small changes that Marsh has made so far has been a big difference in this game. For me, it's all about Jessie's squad, making life difficult for the Netherlands. I think that it's the most we can ask for with this team. And Alex, if you're Jessie Marsh going into the locker room right now, 45 minutes down, like I said, new ideas, new philosophy. This is a new team to him. But you're watching it, and we've watched the national team a lot. You can tell this team is already picking up on some of the ideas that Jessie has. They're buying in. And like Dimitri said, I love what I'm seeing so far from the back, leading all the way up to the front. I think we could be a little bit more in the final third, but for the most part, walking away 0-0, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think you take it, right? 0-0. It wasn't perfect. I don't think it'd be, it'd be foolish to pretend that it was a perfect half, but you take it. First half under a new coach, new back line. Um, I think there have been positives to take. Um, I'm sure you're Marsh, you're looking at some of those defensive, those two. I think those two breakdowns that led to the big chance. Just the Dutch were so clean in possession on that first one that led to that tight angle save from St. Clair, and then of course the one on at the end from the high line, kind of getting caught out. But otherwise, your defense is held up. That's task number one. The press has not been beaten like drastically. Like there's rarely been moments where they've carved through the press. You're like, ooh, they've been out of sync in that regard. And look, they're on the road against the Dutch. And of these 45 minutes, I'd say you can be happy with Canada going at it for 35 of those minutes. You take that given the circumstances. And yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers. Of course, the numbers can only tell you so much. But the Dutch, 9 shots. They did have 2 big chances. Like I mentioned, those are the 2 breakdowns. Canada did have a big chance. So if I'm Canada, I'd want to see a bit more offensively. I want to see them push a bit more, be creative, because they've had it when they had that sequence with Kone to Lair, and that was good football. We haven't seen enough of that from them, but I think part of it's been that they've been focusing so much on the defensive side that the offense has almost been a bit secondary at the moment.
No, well said. There's a couple good comments in here I want to get to. One's coming in from Nathan John. It says good first half. And I think this is important. And I'm really looking forward to the second half because he says, I hope we don't run out of energy. And that's a big question mark around Jesse's squad. It's why we were talking about substitutions, how important it's going to be, what the turnover of the squad could look like for the France game, depending on the way that they play. I don't know. I don't know how well that these guys are in shape. I think we have some pretty athletic players that are, playing at a high level. I think that these guys are a perfect squad for Jesse's system, but it is something to keep an eye on for. This is a tough opposition. It's a new kind of way of.
Mostly we've seen a little more of Miller. That right side is probably the big area I've watched. And of course, I think Laren, the fact that you haven't seen him much all half, and he had that stereotypical big Laren chance that he usually puts away for Canada. Those are kind of 3 for watching. I mean, I don't know. I'd throw it to both of you guys. What do you kind of think?
That's where I was going to go too. Now I'm just going to add one more bit of context. Maybe we can kind of go around. I agree. I mean, I think that I don't think they're going to make any changes right now at half. I'm looking at the 60th, right? Like that's
55
the 55. And I agree. I was just trying to think of who makes a sense to potentially even come on for. Like, I think Richie could come on.
So Richie, I was just gonna say,
Richie, he's good for 30. I think
that's the first go-to.
Yeah, he may not be the first round of substitute. If they're 60-minute subs, he may not be ready for that. Maybe he's like more of a 70, 75. I'm looking at Chouanier, and that was the question I was going to try to bring up, was because I mentioned Chouanier and how he would fit into the squad, and I told myself maybe he would have to come on for Kone, but now I'm thinking that maybe it would make more sense to come in the wider positions. And I'm looking at maybe a Chouanier for Tejan, plays out on the right. If
maybe
not, you obviously have.
What about an Ugbo on the right?
Ugbo probably won't go on the right, but Schaff could, or maybe.
Or you could. I think Miller played a lot on the right, so you could always. Again, I'm very curious to see how he handles a Buchanan, right? Because it's like Buchanan, can break open a game, but we haven't seen it, right? Because even Miller's had a few sequences where he's ran at a guy. I mean, we can kind of dive into the numbers. It's nice to have that all available to us. I mean, let's see maybe the eyes have been lying. Buchanan 21 touches, Miller has 25. So I mean, it's not much, but again, for a guy like Buchanan, you'd like more touches at this stage.
But it does feel like Miller is just a little bit more involved in the game. Like you can see. It just feels that way, like the 21 touches that Buchanan did have. It seems like there were some of them deeper in their own half, maybe just kind of passing off the ball back. Like it's not as influential. I would say that's the word I'm looking for. Influential. The touches are not as influential as Liam Miller's touches, I would say.
So what do you think is the most likely then? Miller goes over to the right and Schaffenberg's a potential replacement for Buchanan, or do you think Chouanier could get a chance at wide? And Alex, do you think that if Chouanier comes on, it has to be as a wider positions, or do you think that it could be a fit as one of the kind of the double pivots? Because we said this isn't Kone's like bread and butter to play that deep. I think he's doing it really well, but I think it would be even harder for Chouanier to maybe pull it off.
I think if we see Chouanier, I think he's going to go out wide or up front. I don't see him going into that pivot. I think Piet's probably the only guy I'd see slotting into that pivot.
I agree.
If you feel like you want to push Kone up, or if you think they are running out of gas in midfield, so I'd see Chouanier maybe going out wide. So that's a potential option. He can kind of operate as one of those 10s. He has that profile. If not Schaffenberg, it's a bit of a no-brainer. He brings you a bit of something defensively. It's tough though. I definitely do think Buchanan's going to get at least 15 to kind of be like, all right, quiet first half.
Yeah.
Show me something. Because it would be harsh to take a guy like him out at halftime. But I definitely think that's probably the big change to watch. Because, I feel like Laird, you just kind of figure he's a ticking, his time is ticking in terms of a striker coming in from just, especially you have so much depth that if you're not, like it's a bit unfortunate, right? But like, look, if you're Laird, you look a bit off. Well, you have Ugbo Bear, Oluwasi, all these guys they can look to right away. So I think that one's kind of given. I'm just curious how much of a leash he gives to Buchanan. Because again, someone like you want him on the field in the 85th, 90th because he can break open a game. But if he's not having it, you may as well go for some fresh legs.
Is it out of the question because it's a friendly that we'll see changes here at halftime?
I don't think it's out of the question. I just don't think it.
Maybe
I
think it's the first game. I don't know if he kind of wants to give these guys a bit more of a run, but.
Yeah, it's not out of the question. I don't know. I don't really see it quite yet. I feel like just because of how well they played in this first half, I see that. I just think that he'll go another 15 or so. Because again, at the end of the day, it is a friendly. Like if he sees there's a reason to maybe make a substitution from like a knock or just the fact, I don't know, game management. If there's the instructions from the club that this player's, I don't know. Like there could be a couple different reasons, but I'd be surprised if we see something at half. But I think I like to read into things. Alex likes to be a little bit more calm with some of the things. I'm just right now. Mine's going to mile a minute. So where I was going with that is just I'm really curious to see what striker comes on for Laren when that time comes. Because that's what I mean. I'm guessing.
Dima's on the Theo Bear train at this point.
I feel it, man. I feel it.
That train has left the station 45 minutes.
I'm guessing it's Ugbo. I don't think that's the big surprise. But at the same time, I didn't think Davies was going to start at left back, and I didn't think Dane Sinclair was going to start between the sticks. So I don't know. It's just something that I'm keeping an eye out for who that first striker substitution is going to be.
I think I agree with you. Like I think I'm just one can dream, but I think realistically, based on the season but I mean, if you're basing it on the season that Ugbo had, then Theo also had a good season. I think it will be Ugbo though that will come on and get a look for sure. Maybe Theo, maybe at the later stages, or maybe on Sunday against France. You never know.
I like this. Sorry, I got a comment coming in from Ethan. Says Bombito might be the most important player to get experience in this system. I don't like the idea of bringing him off. I think the only reason I would see
the yellow card
is the yellow. And maybe just to look at Ebert.
He made that slide at the end on a yellow, so clearly it isn't affecting his confidence. So I think that's maybe also something Marsh.
Because there's a lot of comments coming in here from Bombito. Because like I said, I've been super impressed with him.
Dude.
I said he's going to be he's going to be the guy. I think going forward. And it looks like a lot of the chat's agreeing, and no one wants to see him taken off. It is a friendly, and he's on a yellow. So, it wouldn't shock me, but I agree. I say if you can't.
After this 45 minutes, it's kind of hard to go back to Miller. I find, you know what I mean? Like just seeing Cornelius and Bombito together.
It's always like, a bit of a risk when the
right
read them and whatnot.
For me, like I'm absolutely loving the Cornelius Bombito partnership right now, and and the thing is, it's only going to get stronger and stronger. The more they play together, the stronger they're going to get together, right? The more chemistry they're going to build.
How important do you think it is, Alex, to have Davies alongside Cornelius out on the left? Do you think that if it was like Kyle Hebert or someone else, it would maybe change the way that this backline's approaching the game? Do you think that? I think Cornelius is playing really well, but what's something he lacks a little bit in his pace. I mean, when you have someone like Fonzie right beside him and is able to make just kind of add that support when Frimpong or some fast players are going at him. I just feel like it's a nice little combo right here where maybe Cornelius can focus a little bit more on his game instead of trying to maybe make coverage, especially with the high line. In the ballpark, do you like it or no?
There's the substitution at half.
Oh,
Schaffelberg's coming on.
Okay, so everything I just said, Dima, you're correct. We lost Alex, but hey, that's gonna make some of the chat happy. We're talking about sexy substitutions.
Yeah, Schaff is on, man. 45 minutes. There he is.
All right, we got a comment.
I'm back.
So you back?
And I'll be back in a second as well.
Computers, it's fighting. It's the heat that's getting me right now. That's why the computer's bugged out there.
But that's okay. So Alex, after everything we just talked about substitutions, there was one. Liam Miller comes off. It's a direct replacement. Jacob Schaffelberg comes on. It's
harsh on Miller. I thought he had a
decent half. I thought he had a decent half as well. I mean, it's a like for like, right? Like it's You know, I think Liam Miller in the system would be the most comfortable on the left-hand side. I think Jacob Schaffelberg is the same. It's a like for like substitution. I didn't think that would be the substitution, but I'm going to go back quickly to the question before you broke off, Alex. Just because the back four is something that I think everyone's kind of focusing on. How important do you think it is having Alphonso Davies beside Derek Cornelius, just simply for having the speed and coverage, allowing Cornelius maybe just to focus a little bit more on his game, knowing that Davies is beside him?
Well, it's nice, and especially because Davies has been very responsible that half and deserves credit. He went forward a few times. He's in his right to. That's a skill. But I thought he was responsible and did well to kind of stay at home, so to speak, right? He was holding it down and offering a bit of protection. That always helps, right? There's a reason why Bayern loves him there. It gives protection to their center backs. If there is a transition moment, you can kind of spare him, or you can you have that outlet. So, no, I think it's been good from Davies so far. And now I'm curious to see what happens on the right, because, yeah, it feels like Johnson has been struggling a tad defensively, which we're not used to seeing.
Well,
He's
probably not used to someone the size of Van de Ven and the pace of Van de Ven running at him. Like, he's getting out muscled.
I'm telling you, Van de Ven is an absolute monster. But here, like, we're off to a good start again. We have an early corner.
You see that 7 seconds in? That was one of the quickest corners.
Okay, that's good to know. My stream also went out.
I talked about it in one of the videos. I said Schaffelberg and Davies with overlapping runs, man. And that's exactly what we're going to see for the next 45 here. I'm super excited to see how that's going to work.
And quickly, sorry, Alex, just to make sure we're all linked up once again, because I think Alex has went down. So, Dima, you saw at 45-57, 45-58.
46. Oh boy, I'm really behind.
Okay, so let me know.
Behind. Okay, I'm at 46:04 now. Is that
2:46? 46:05, 46:06, 07, 08.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Right. Beautiful.
And now a bit of a technological glitch. I'm in an old apartment, so it gets hot here when it's on a sunny day, and
you're good
with the StreamYard stream. Everything it's getting hot in here. You know, it's action. It's just getting.
All right. I saw something in the chat that made me laugh. So we're at 92 likes. If we can get to 100 likes in, I don't know, the next. Oh, it's already jumped up. In the next, I don't know, like 3 or 4 minutes. I saw someone comment. They said, "Ooh, I like it. The maple syrup merchants mixed in with some Red Bull. Sounds like an interesting drink." So,
I don't know if I don't drink Red Bulls. I don't know if I could handle
more than 100 likes, Chad. Yeah, we can get 150 likes. There's 300 people nearly here. Just hit the like button.
150 likes.
It's free. Hit the like
button. Josh will take Red Bull.
A Red Bull maple syrup shot. 150 likes before 4 o'clock. Dima, you gotta join me. I have both actually upstairs.
I do not have any Red Bull, but I may have some maple syrup. I will do a maple syrup shot. If we can get to 200 likes by the end of the stream, I will do a.
Okay, so they're the benchmarks. You got 150, but you got 7 minutes.
We're going high. We're going high here.
Yeah, yes. 7 minutes.
High. Maple syrup. I mean, I can do.
I'll do Red Bull mixed with maple syrup before this stream ends. If we can get there. and then
I'll be your goal celebration.
And we'll see. But if not, I'm okay with not doing it. But I just thought it was
Davies again.
Yeah, and it's a good battle.
That's not a foul. Nothing. That's what I'm saying. Let's go.
Just gotta.
I've never seen Davies play this simple though for Canada.
Oh,
that's a foul, no?
Good defense.
Nice work, Eustachio.
Oh, Kone turning up through the gears. Oh, maybe a little too much.
It's getting a little bit.
A little open for my.
Yeah.
Oh, good
nice save.
Nice
save.
He's having a game. Loki, I think he might be my player of the match so far. I think St. Clair, you kind of have to.
I'd say for sure. I would say for sure.
Love it.
I think he's doing everything possible to make a case for the starting keeper for the Copa America.
This is the kind of stuff, though. This is the kind of stuff that we don't want to get in. This kind of sloppiness, you know what I mean? Just, unorganized kind of football. The last couple of minutes there, that's the kind of stuff you want to avoid 100%, especially against a team like Netherlands, because they will pick you apart. And they almost just did right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a couple comments coming in. The maple syrup shot. Chug a pint instead. Yeah, you guys, I might not have to do anything. You got till 4. You got till 4 o'clock to get to 150. I think they're asking a little bit of it, but that's okay. Dima's got a different bet towards the end, so we'll see. But A couple people coming in the chat saying, yeah, Dane Sinclair has been the man of the match. So far, I agree. But like, I think the funny thing is, guys, is like Argentina is literally 2 games away. Like, I don't, and maybe I'm reading in too much into it, but I don't know. But I think getting the start against Netherlands was a statement. I think the performance so far from Dane Sinclair is also a statement. I don't know what Crepeau would have to do against France to maybe turn this around.
Off the board.
Pretty much. I mean, like a clean sheet.
It's still early. Minute 50. We'll see what Sinclair has up his
There's a cross
so far.
There it is.
Well, Josh,
that's why we don't. I think we have a few sayings in French that might
help.
It was a nice goal. It was a nice goal.
Unattached FC scored. It's tough. That was a good ball, though.
A nice one. That is a nice one. Memphis.
See the breakdown on that one. It was just a
Left
good ball.
A little bit.
He appeared to ghost between the CBs and then boom, back of the net. But so yeah, that's it. Ball went out wide to Frimpong. Davies covered.
That's Johnston. He's just a little late, a little slow.
It's also, I don't know what Marsh if it's man-to-man or zone, because Bombito is very aggressive on his man-to-man. If it's a zone system, he'd be a bit out of line there, but the way he was pressing on the man, I think that might indicate it is.
I mean, Dane almost got there, but there's nothing he could do with that.
The reaction time is there, but it's just a little far, just a little wide for him.
Jesse's not happy.
No.
Someone.
Well, you could see in the replay that Johnston is kind of standing with Memphis, but then Memphis makes the move, and then Johnston is just a little late to react to it, and Memphis gets the little, the kind of the step and a half on him.
Yeah, I'm curious though. Yeah, what the setup is, because.
Do we lose Alex again?
51 minutes in. We got some work to do. But I still feel confident, though. I'm still liking the performance. I'm still liking the result, even if it's 1-0.
Yeah, they're playing well. Let's just see how they react to this. Oh, Dane had to be careful. Oh, man. Fonzie. Davies has slipped twice now early in this half. I don't know. Is it raining there?
There's grass a bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't have his metal spikes in.
I was gonna say that's twice I've seen him in the last 3 minutes kind of just disappear from the play because he's fallen. Yeah.
This is where we kind of have to tighten up a little bit and not let it get out of hand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just calm things down. There's still a lot of time to play. I'm curious to see if they're going to make any tweaks. Obviously being level with the Netherlands now that they're kind of chasing the game. I don't know how Jessie wants to switch this up. Maybe we see a sub.
We need to put some passes together, some chances together. There you go.
Oh, good ball.
Cook him. Schaffenberg against DeLitt. Oh, go central. I want to see him shoot that. Now he shoots it. Yeah, David on the run.
Off the post, man.
Oh, Schaff.
Was that off the post, or did he save it?
No, that was a save. That's something I want to see, though, from someone like Schaffelberg. I would have liked to see him cut across DeLitt there and force him to make either crazy tackle or potentially draw a card or something like that.
Yeah, just put your body in a position. Good things could happen. You could drop, like you said, draw,
or you get past him and get a breakaway.
Yeah, one of the two. Because DeLitt's not going to want to foul him, but he definitely had a step. We got a comment saying that Cornelius doing zonal by stepping out of the line, but Johnson and Bombito man-to-man ?
I think that's kind of the vibe I got from that goal. It seemed just like Bombito went man-to-man. Johnson was just kind of in between, and then Cornelius was in a zone. I think that might just be hiccups of all three of them doing different defensive. So that was a very weird breakdown.
Yeah.
I think that'll be something to ask Marsh after the game.
You just don't know who to point the finger to confidently, Alex?
Well, I don't know because it's the system. With the Whitecaps, I know it's a zone. So when I see a breakdown, you typically know who lost their zone there. There's two different breakdowns. So the question was the person who did the man-to-man, Bombito, at fault, or Johnston, or was it Cornelius technically? Although I don't think so. The fact that it was at the back post, it definitely feels like it's between Johnston and Bombito.
Just again, we won't know unless we know what Jesse's playing. But I don't know, by body language, it kind of looked like Johnson said crap, that's on me. But again, I don't know.
It's
a tough one.
Get there.
But that's again,
Get
that's the
there,
kind of
guys.
sequences that in a new team figuring out a system. I think that was smart from Frimpong, right? Whip it into a dangerous area because Canada, that back four hasn't played together. Maybe they're learning a different system. You can kind of catch them out, right? And I think that was a good opportunity to do that.
Growing pains, you know. Oh, I see Brim. I see
Zator.
Zator.
I mean, okay. I'm assuming Zator is going to come on for Johnston.
Yeah, I think Johnston's
down.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he's down.
Yep.
That's not good.
That's not good.
But I don't know. It looked like the ref helped him up. And Brim, who are we saying? Brim for
Brim's
Tajon?
for Laren, surely.
For Laren, you think? I mean, Brim told us he wants to play striker. I wonder if he told Jesse the same thing.
Oh, well, we got an Canadian Premier League player or former Canadian Premier League player out there against some pretty heavyweights, pretty big heavyweights. What is Tajon?
And it is Tajon. So Brim
Tajon is coming off.
Brim goes out wide.
So the entire right side is coming off now. It's
exactly what
they did struggle early on. So.
It's exactly what you said, man.
Just a bit later than I thought it would.
Just not the two substitutions I would have thought though. To be fair, like I don't know. I didn't think. I mean, we didn't talk about Brim or Zator during halftime. We addressed the right hand side.
I thought it would be Larea, to be honest with you. One would for sure be Larea.
Question mark coming in is like a little early for Larea, and I think that's probably the main reason. It's like 55. I thought he'd go to 60, but I mean that would have been before the goal. But interesting. All right, I'm excited to see what Brim can do.
Yeah, we'll see. And Zator won with Jagiellonia in the Polish league, right?
Ooh.
Oh boy, here we go.
Look at Davies' recovery run. Oh, Fonte!
That's a finish though.
Nice finish.
No.
Oh,
it was a beautiful recovery run. It's just the block went right back to him.
No.
Damn.
No.
Let's see this back. That was another. I think it's man to man. Watch the way Cornelius stepped on that goal. That stood out right away.
Still waiting for this replay here.
I know. We're getting a good angle of celebrations. Yeah, look at the way Cornelius stepped there.
Yeah, Davies.
He's not off? Frimpong?
I don't know. It kind of looked like he's certainly behind Davies, but look at that finish, though.
He looked a little off to me.
They haven't showed the angle yet. Who might have kept them? Look at the run, though. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate it landed right back for Frimpong, but, like, you know, Davies has that pace to be able to track back like that. It's just... Nah, I mean, I wouldn't say Davies.
Man did what was that?
VAR? Yes. So let's check for the offside.
What's going on?
They're not checking? They're not going to check. Was it Zator that kept him on the other side? Looks like it, yeah.
All right, well, big hole to climb.
It's man-to-man, which raises even more questions about the first goal.
Yeah, so I think that kind of indicates Johnston, I want to say, because Bombito stepped on a guy that he identified. I guess it kind of left Johnston to...
I just had again, I mean, oh, look at Davies. Just look from the body language. I don't know, like, you know when you make a mistake, right? Like,
yeah, you just kind of know.
You kind of know. It just
that's my guy or that's my space.
It just kind of looked like Johnson's like crap. Like that one was on me, but.
So where do we go from here now? We got about half an hour left. What do you guys see coming? Who do you think is coming on? Because we'll see more changes.
I would assume we're going to see a striker come on.
For Laren?
Probably Ugbo for Laren is what I would like to see. Maybe Bear. I don't know. Who else could potentially come off? I mean, maybe David could come off. I can maybe see JD playing the whole match, though.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you take Bombito off, try someone else at center back just because of the yellow. I don't know.
Nice cross. No one in the back.
Brim with the little spec. Oh, yeah, I have to remember this is kind of a home game for Brim.
Hey, yeah, he's in.
You know,
he's Rotterdam.
In Rotterdam.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe he can
that was dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see the response because I think it's something. Look, I mean, what I predicted 2-1. Dima predicted a 3-1. this isn't out of line of what we expected. I think it's just the fact that it came so sudden, right? Like you kind of eat 2 goals in a 15-minute span after the first half where you did so well to survive and even push forward. But I think this is going to be I guess that in a sense, though, that's also the indication of the first 45, right? Like they had the legs, and maybe it shows some of the growing pains with the system that kind of came apart as
It's just interesting to see how we're going to recover after this. I think that's the most important part, right? We talked about it in the beginning, and I don't think it's the result that matters so much. It's just that.
Oh, Memphis
goodness, the Dutch. Memphis
goes for the buck. Goes for the bike. Give me a new club, boys.
it's the effort and how we kind of, like I said, recover after giving up these 2 goals. How we perform after these 2 goals that we just conceded. How we perform in these types of situations, right?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, honestly, since we've looked wide open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like even right now, it just looks like the Netherlands are finding space.
Here comes Wout Weghorst and Malen and Bergwijn.
Jeez, what a this might get into a 3 or 4, but I guess what the good news, I guess, if you want to look at it from a glass half full perspective, is that I think the 2 goals there have been 2 kind of clear breakdowns that have kind of been identified. So at least that's easier to fix. And look at like, all right, those are the breakdowns. Here's how you fix them. And again, you can kind of attribute that to growing pains of the new system, right? That there are going to be these little breakdowns. The first goal, I think we've finally figured out what kind of went wrong there. Second goal, that one just feels like a bunch of mixed parts the way it went down, and something to keep an eye on. Especially, I think that's something with man-to-man that personally I don't like with man-to-man. I'm a big zonal guy myself, but man-to-man, Cornelius steps up as he should in a man-to-man. Davies kind of drops back, right, in anticipation of the run. But then the question is, like you mentioned, Dima looked like Zator might have played him on the other side. That's always the danger of man-to-man when the line gets staggered and guys kind of get off the line. And those are things Canada will have to look at. That okay, if you are going to play so tight to the forwards, you have to have that reaction so that you don't have guys who are egregiously out of place.
Am I wrong though? It didn't look like Davies had any idea that Frimpong was over there.
Or
unless he just trusted his speed to be able to recover. Because
I think that's what he did, and it was just like that's why he kind of just it's one of those. I think if you're a guy like him, you're almost better off just like he's there, and that as soon as the ball goes over your head, you turn, you put your head down and run. That's kind of what he did, right? Like
because I was just saying
over my head.
I agree. I think like
maybe he was playing the high line, thinking that he would be offside. You know what I mean?
My guess is like I was just seeing some questions around it because it seems like there some of the chat is saying the blames on Davies. I agree where I think that he maybe trusted that Cornelius could have maybe got the ball or stopped that play, but he knew where Frimpong was, trusted his pace, and to be fair, he recovered. That ball could have went anywhere. It was unfortunate. It fell right back to Frimpong, and then he put it home. So I mean, I'm not looking at Davies like that was on him. I don't think you guys are either. I don't think that's a tone, but I don't
see that as
that's poor. That is poor.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for St. Clair.
Oh man.
Quite the celebration from Wout the Goat Weghorst.
Yeah, Weghorst, and out of all the people, he doesn't score goals. He didn't score for Man United, but
I think he's got a baby on the ways by the celebration. That's terrible. That's not a good. That one's not a good goal to give away.
No,
if the other 2 were preventable breakdowns, this one just is a bit of an ugly one.
Yeah, we kind of just fell apart here now, man. We really
the second half. Yeah, I think if anything, we'll watch this back. Malen isos Davies, nice ball into the box. Cornelius clears. I think that's just where we want St. Clair to catch it. Unfortunate.
That's so tough. It was a 0-0 at halftime. It's so much to be happy about.
Well, I think that's one of those where maybe again you get a little overconfident at halftime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, new system. We're flying 0-0. We got this, and yeah, it kind of feels like this half. It's been a bit, over aggressive, a bit like passive.
A tale of 2 halves.
Yeah.
A tale of 2 halves. And at what point do we start making changes here? 65 minutes in, it's 3-0. The game,
there have already been changes too. That's the worry. You've completely shaked up the right side now. You've kind of had 3 goals come down the left.
Yeah, I meant more in like the Kyle Laren.
I think you'd
area.
also I'd say throw Davies forward.
Yeah.
Oh, nice ball. Where's Davies right now?
There's just
Fonzie.
no options there.
I'd say throw him forward and see what he can bring.
Well, let's see if we can push to get something back. I just think they need to grab a back hold of this game a little bit, just in terms of relaxing. It seems like that first one went in and they've been cut apart. They've been wide open. It seems like they completely forgot all the good things that they did in that first half. And I feel bad for Dane though, man. That goal is clearly on him, and he had such a strong half. And
yeah, the first 2 goals were not on him whatsoever. You can't put those goals on him, but that one is 100% is. But here, at least Brim won us a corner here, so.
I want to rewatch that third goal back. Apparently there was a bit of a.
I'm seeing Zatora getting. I don't know.
In.
I just want to see if that's
anyone get to the ball.
Oh,
damn!
Just about.
Transition.
Oh, but not with Shaft.
Shaft is fast.
Oh, that's a foul.
Oh, and I think surely you want a foul there.
No. Wow. This is like the World Cup all over again. The first half was good against Belgium. Second half.
The quality of players, like the depth that Belgium does have. Obviously, this Belgium team is not the Belgium team that it used to be, but it has some very, very exciting players still. Like look, they're making changes. They're bringing off Depay, and they bring on a Europa League winner in Bergwijn, who scored a hat trick in the Europa League final, and a Champions League finalist in Daniel Malin. You know what I mean? Like, it's the depth of this roster is just, phenomenal, really.
Did Bergwijn scored a hat trick in the final?
3-0 for Atalanta.
Lookman.
Oh, that was Luka Lookman. It wasn't Bergwijn. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I was saying, I'm like, is there a Europa League final over the last year?
Oh my gosh, man!
No.
That's a big L for me. Can I get some L's in the chat for me, please?
You said Belgium too. You were going.
I
think we lost you a little bit.
I was like, we'll let Dima go off here. We'll let him.
Dude, what am I talking about, man?
Oh, how do I?
Dude, this is what an L.
It's okay. You were good in the first half, similar to.
Don't ever listen to me, guys. Don't ever listen.
Canada's having mix-ups at the back. We're having mix-ups. Just mix-ups all over the gaff right now.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, just for the chat.
This guy has zero ball knowledge. Absolutely right, dog. I completely agree with you. That was a big L on my side.
Zatora did lose the ball in possession ahead of the third goal.
Nice ball.
Back into a defensive. Oh my boy, Malin's. And yeah, the tour definitely does not go without blame. Let's just say.
No, I haven't watched it back. Where was it? Like 30 seconds before the goal, or like was it the last?
Yeah, literally
turnover?
It was the sequence before he had the ball in possession. He just kind of got dispossessed.
Jacob,
ball is decent.
Chad is not happy with Davies' performance at left back. I don't like. I saw a lot of the chat was blaming him for the first 2 goals, and I don't think that's fair.
Here comes Van Dijk and De Vrij.
Davies.
No, I can't. The first one I can't. I'd say just because I think that's something where the ball into the box was very manageable. Like it wasn't. You could say, could Davies have closed him down? It's always a tough balance, right? Because you close them down, maybe get beat, and they put in an even more dangerous ball.
Let's just
the second goal.
Let's just casually bring on De Vrij and Van Dijk right now.
Give him a couple minutes.
Great. That's tough.
Couple of minutes.
Tough for the goal that we're looking for. Really lock it down. Damn. No, I don't like.
I wonder if we can get one back.
Let's hope. We got 2 substitutions. I see Chouanier and who's the other?
I think that's Hoylett.
Chouanier and someone.
So no, none of the. We're not seeing any Ugbo or Bear at the moment.
So I'm assuming Chouanier for maybe a Kone, Alex. Yeah. And then Hoylett probably.
The midfield was good in the first half. It's struggling now.
Or actually, maybe they take off both up front. Maybe right? Like maybe Hoylett. Well, no, we don't really have a striker then. Unless, actually, no. Brim could go striker.
Maybe Brim would go up there. Yeah, I was gonna say Brim goes.
Hoylett could go out wide, or Chouanier could go out wide, and the other one could play as a 10. So, I mean, that could be it if he really wants to shake up this midfield because they are getting cut apart right now.
Yeah, Hoylett and Chouanier.
I don't know. What do you think? I think it could be one of the strikers in Kone or probably both strikers. And both strikers have been pretty quiet so far. So I don't know. We got a question coming in saying, do you think getting spanked by world football powers will be good for CONCACAF nations in the long run?
It shows the gap.
It shows the gap, but you have to play these matches. I think it's if you lose 5-0, it's better than winning 5-0 against like a Bermuda. Like I would take these matches.
Learned a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
to get better, you need to play better opposition, right? Like that's the only way you're going to get better. If you keep on playing San Marino and spanking them 15-0, it's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah,
right?
We're away right now and one of the best, footballing nations out there, and we have a brand new manager. Like this shouldn't be a surprise. I just you want to see the team learn and grow from it. But just to confirm the substitution, it was Eustachio coming off. So Chouanier is going to be in the double pivot with Kone, and then Larin came off. So Hoylett will play, I'm assuming, up front with David, unless Hoylett goes out wide to push Brim up. I'm not sure. But
I think no matter the result, the conversation after this match, it'll be look at the way we played in the first 45 and what happened in the next 45, or, well, so far it's 25, right? I think that's the conversation. Why can't we play like we played in the first 45 for the most part? There was a couple of things obviously in the first 45 that could use some work, but overall that performance from the first 45 to now was like night and day. You know what I mean? Night and day difference, complete difference.
Yeah, I think maybe that's something where we'll have to remember that you can kind of get drawn in by what that first 45 did, right? Like I mentioned earlier, the players, maybe you get a bit confident, like, oh yeah, we're up against the Netherlands, and that's the last thing you can do because you sleep for 20 minutes and all of a sudden you got a three-piece dropped on your head. But also I think from watching it, it's something where it's like you saw the first 45 and you're like, oh, the system's going to work, everything's going to be great. And then you kind of realize, oh yeah, there are going to be growing pains. There are, it's not going to just be like, boom, Marsh ball, Red Bull ball. It's going to be, it still takes time to implement that sort of stuff. So I think something to remember that, like, if this game, if it's Depay 20th minute goal, then you Van de Ven 37th minute goal, Weghorst 65th minute goal, and it's a 3-0 result. Maybe you're looking at it from a different perspective, especially because like the first half, like, oh, Canada's right in this. It could be up 1-0, right? It kind of blends your perspective, and you can't, I guess, lose sight of what you've kind of seen throughout the entire game, which is, again, like you mentioned, tale of two halves. There's some good, and then there's been some very bad, and that's.
But also at the same time, I think we have to remember that this is probably the best nation we've played in a very, very long time, and it's our first match under a brand new manager. Legit, right? First match under a brand new manager. We were stuck with Netherlands away. The way that we performed in that first half was fantastic. I think the second half obviously needs to be talked about. There's definitely a lot of room for growth come to second 45, but there's got to be some sort of, I wouldn't say leeway. Is that the kind of word? Is that the proper word to use? Leeway here?
That's what I'd say. There's definitely something where if Marsh had been working on this system for 12 months or something like that, and something like this happens, it's something where you can. It also depends on your perspective on life. You maybe see it as a doom and gloom, like this is a sign of the end time. This is just what it's going to be like under Marsh. Get used to it. Or I mean, it's day one, right? Like, sometimes you have
and that would be extremely unfair to even have those thoughts because of the gauntlet of the first three matches that Jessie Marsh has to come into. It doesn't matter if we would still had Herdman behind the bench on the touchline, or whoever we might have had. We're never they're gonna be the favorites in these first three matches. So it's about learning, growing, and here's a great question: What do you think is one or two of the biggest takeaways from this game that he can apply to the France match? I mean, like, you could argue. I think it's not an argument. I think France is probably a better nation.
They definitely are.
Yeah. So like, what do you switch up the system? Do you like this 4-2-2? Did you like, the two midfields was always a question mark going up. How would that? How would that be with France? Like, what's a couple of takeaways you're looking for towards the France match?
Well, you're going to have to think that the first thing I'm thinking is Mbappe plays left wing, and Johnston.
He played 9 against Luxembourg.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. he might start as a left, right, on the left-hand side, and he'll be up against Johnston. So that's one area we definitely need to kind of, I don't know if it's work on or kind of just keep an eye on, or definitely improve on going into the France match. Just that right side in general with Buchanan and Johnston were just I didn't think they were great, like you said, Alex, at halftime. I think that's something that we need to work on.
What do you think? You think there's any chance you change up the system a little bit? Or
No, it's game one. Like, I would think that would just be like pointless. Zero confidence in yourself and your players. Like, yeah, one bad result against a team that you're expected. Look, I'd say the way I look at it, I'd go back to what we said at the start, Josh. You asked Dima and I what we wanted out of this game. I think my answer was I just wanted to see signs of, growth and progress in the system, and I'd like to see Canada score a goal, and keep the game competitive. So far they haven't scored the goal, so that's something we'd like to see in the next 15 or 20 minutes, depending on how much added time there is. Mm-hmm. I think the first half was a sign of the system. Again, if we're splitting it up, I think the first half showed some of the upside of the system. The press, when it's clicking, it can frustrate a team like the Netherlands in their build-up play. That's not easy to do. Defensively, Canada was holding on, keeping the Netherlands relatively out of dangerous areas right until the end of the half. But now in the second half, we're maybe seeing some of the weaknesses that the system has to work out, such as defending, marking in the box, even someone like St. Clair we mentioned, just how he's going to have to prove himself, that, those sorts of, that a mistake like that, as unfortunate as it is, he's screened on it. I know as a goalkeeper, it's tough to save something like that, but that's a mistake that gets punished at this level. Those are all
Cornelius, man. Saves another.
Why there? So yeah, that's what I'd say is that, like, I think, again, keeping a realistic perspective of what we learned and what we expected to learn, which again, can't lose.
Nice ball.
Oh, was that Junior?
Oh man.
Oh,
Schaffelberg bringing a bit of something.
Would love to see
Junior got in there. Yep.
I would love to see Junior score there.
Nice ball.
David getting a little deeper there in the build-up.
Just a little wide, little far for Hoylett. That's the Cornelius.
Truda sold Davies there. My goodness, I just saw
that's the Cornelius chance again. Save again. Last ditch effort.
Now we're at the lull of the game. The last 13 minutes.
Let's see if we can push, Alex, because like you
kind of. It'd be nice to get a goal.
It would be. We said
it would be nice to get a goal, guys. I would love a goal.
3-1 kind of performance. Like, I mean, like you said, like there's some good things that we've seen.
3-1 would be all right. I'd be okay with 3-1. I mean, it's really about, here comes Piet, by the way. It's about the performance, right? Like how do you respond? How do you rebound? Like we talked about it. It's the same thing, right? You want to be in that first 45 in comparison to the next 20. And it's Kone coming off for Piet.
Yep, straight swap in the middle.
Fresh. Montreal midfield. So Marsh, obviously, what he's seen from the Courtois duo. Seen a lot of that this year. But that's it's interesting, like the points about the different halves and what that entails, right? And how you respond, and again too, right? I guess you suppose that, again, this shows that if I'm, for example, I mean, this is something we can look at. I'm curious to see what you'd say, like Dima, Josh. What would you say if you're Marsh? Because I think if you're Marsh and you're looking at this, it's a sign of, I think you look at that first half and be like, look, guys, you remain bought in, you remain committed to the system. There's some great things that can happen. But then also you look at the second half that, we still got lots of work to do. Put your head down and train and keep at it. Because I think that's something too to wonder. You see it sometimes with the new coach. If you come in and you win right away, or at least, you kind of say that they survived this half, they struggle this half and they win, you kind of, the struggles go out the window. And the reality is, when you're conceding goals like this, you can't help but look at them and said, what went wrong? What kind of structure went wrong? And this is a situation where if I think if you're Marsh, you kind of have to bring those two balances of, look, I like the first half, build off the first half, but also be like, yeah, I don't like the second half. But I think this is also a sign of the work that still needs to be done to get the ship as ready as possible for Copa.
Knowing how Jesse speaks, I think he's gonna go into this and really probably focus on the first half immediately, like, because the guys are gonna be disappointed, right? Like, this is a massive match. You had such a strong, and probably when you went in the locker room at halftime, you probably felt very different than you're going to be going in at 3-0. Like maybe if it's a 3-0 loss, whatever it may be. So I think he's gonna really try to focus on and try to get the spirits up a little bit, and then try to address, like you said, some of the issues, and say, guys, like, this is game one together. I saw a lot of things that I'm really comfortable with. Maybe we would have had a chance of, like, you don't want to put into moments, but Laren scores that goal. Maybe it's a little bit different of a game. Like, I think that he's got a lot to take away from, but definitely a lot to learn from. Alex, I'm curious because of the goals, and we were trying to debate, especially that first one, who might have been at fault. Man to man, do you think there's any chance if Jesse's been working on man to man marking, he would switch that up to zonal, or no? Is it that easy, do you think, or do you think it's going to be man to man and we need to work on it? Did we lose Alex? We might have lost Alex. I'll get back to that question. Dima, we'll throw it over to you quick. Over to you quickly.
I'm really surprised that we haven't seen any Ugbos, any Tanis, any Theos on the field. I'm very, very surprised.
Yeah.
Extremely surprised.
Oh,
that's what I'm thinking. In the 80th minute, especially.
Hmm? Yeah,
Alex, you there?
I heard man too, and then we're in
Man
survival
to man,
mode right
or
now.
are they going to zonal? Are we going to zone? Do you think he can introduce it?
Oof. I mean, again, I'm a big
After this
zone
result.
guy, so I wouldn't hate seeing zone, but I think that's something where.
But like, if like the way you said it, Alex, like when I asked about the system, because I thought, like, Jesse's played in a 4-2-3-1, maybe it's not crazy to think he could go from the 4-2-2, lose a striker, drop in a midfielder, and switch it up. But you said, like, if Jesse's going to be true to what he wants to do, and this is the system he wants to play, you don't want to change things up. You want to maybe give it a go. So same question goes. Oh, there's another big opportunity for Vic Horse. And that's a huge save from St. Clair.
Huge save, man. Recovers.
But the man-to-man marking, do you think there's any way he actually just maybe changes it to zonal, or do you think that man-to-man is what he went for, and now we just need to work on it, kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question I'm curious to ask him, because it's not something I noted back some Leeds games. I didn't really notice any like man-to-man. It kind of just seemed it was aggressive, but it was kind of like a hybrid. So I wonder if that's maybe the plan, and I'd like to hear it from him, because I mean, man-to-man is. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to defer to him on that, because again, it wasn't something I'd noticed much of in the preparation. Most of the emphasis was on the press in the game I watched back, so I'd have to.
Oh, that's Van Dijk.
Oh,
what a header!
Was that on Dane at all?
I think that was on Dane a little bit. He came out. I think he came out and kind of a little bit into no man's land, man. I don't think he need to come out there.
Let's see this one back. A set piece. Another one to dissect, right? That comes down to marking. Let's see what this system they had there.
Was it P that was marking Van Dijk?
I hope not.
I think it was.
Let's see this back.
It's a tour on a.
It was a tour. Maybe Brim kind of comes over to help out, but he doesn't even jump. Bombito's too far away.
Van Dijk just kind of got into no man's land. Oh, even St. Clair, he got a hand on it.
Yeah, he shouldn't have come out, I don't think.
Well, it's not what they say about a keeper. You get a hand to it, you should save it. Kind of, it's not the saying. So, he had a hand to it.
So you're saying it was on Dane or wasn't on Dane?
Well, I just think that he got a hand on it, so it was there for him
to get. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough because he just made it.
Because Van Dijk was unmarked, right? Like it's tough. I think it's one of those.
Oh boy,
a bit of both.
What a difference between the first half and the next 40 minutes, man. Holy moly. We got ripped apart a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Mistakes. A lot of them are mistakes.
Is this a humbling second half? Is that
this
maybe
is a huge humble session. This is a
Hey,
humble
man,
side.
yeah,
This is
a
a
four
big
piece like this.
humble pie, bro.
This
This
is
is
Croatia
humble
all over
pie.
again. Especially, well, again, the fact that it was all the second half, and it's just like, again, it makes the first half. I think if you split it up, it's 2 in the first, 2 in the second, it just changes the perspective. But like the fact that it's been 4 in the second half just is
like
sight to behold.
It was a completely different team in the first 45 minutes. Like a completely different team. And now it's like, I don't know. We just seem a little lost.
Was it energy? That's why I'm curious to know was it energy levels? Was it mentality? Was it,
Was it the pressing of the first half? We raised that question. That was a big question mark before going into the second half. Is the way that this team presses, can they do it consistently throughout the match? Do you think that could be a big part of it?
You could talk about
the press has been non-existent in the second half, so that's
no, but
that's what I mean. No, well, that's it. Did they run out of legs and aren't pressing because they have no juice, or was this
I think we lost.
Veerman is on for PSV. More quality.
That's tough. I think we lost Alex again, but
he's back. I think he's back.
Back.
I think he's back. He's back. I mean, a consolation here wouldn't hurt, but yeah, like we talked about it, man. The first 45 is just, and then you have to dissect this next 45. It's a completely night and day difference. We kind of just fell apart, man. We crumbled. I don't know if it was just, like you said, maybe it was just the overall hype. Like it could be that. It could be just the overall hype where it's, oh man, yeah, we're playing Netherlands away. This is a big game, The first, and then Netherlands maybe kind of just settling in for the first 45. But then also at the same time, Netherlands had good chances. We also had a couple of decent chances in the first 45 minutes as well. We played solid defensively. The back four was really, really good in the first half. And then the second half, everything just kind of fell apart, bro.
It's genuinely that's the line in the sand. And again, I'm curious. Of course, we'll hear from Jessie Marsh after the game. I'm very curious for his thoughts because it's something where the fact that it's such a stark contrast between both halves, it definitely leads to questions of, was it sustainability? Was it the energy? Was it decision? Did he feel like his fitness levels were dropping? Because it is worth noting that like in the first half, something that we maybe haven't talked about is like we said, how the press was disrupting the Netherlands, and the Netherlands looked uncomfortable in possession for large parts, whereas now it's been a training exercise ever since halftime. Just the way they've been knocking I'd be scared to check the possession now because it was relatively like nothing eye-popping at half. I bet you now. Let's see.
I don't remember the last time we pressed them. We actually pressed them in their half. We're just kind of standing around and waiting for Netherlands to come to us now.
Well, look at it. It's just kind of guys' hands on hips, and look, that's not. But that's it. That's something that's worth noting as well. A lot of questions where Kone and Eustachio as a pivot. It's been often said, like, is that enough against top teams? It has been. Canada's double pivot has been exposed. One thing that I noted with Marsh's system, the idea is press with the wide guys in up front to take pressure off the midfield. And you saw it in the first half. Eustachio and Kone were great. But now, as you've seen, the Netherlands have completely flooded and overloaded the midfield, right? It's just been an utter domination. The question is, if you feel you're not going to be able to press, could Marsh have reasonably made a change to bring in a third midfielder, heck, even a fourth midfielder to kind of stem the bleeding and not kind of, because it just feels like it was Eustachio and Kone got almost left out to dry in that second half because the energy levels around them faded, right?
Yeah, maybe you could bring Piet a little earlier, like you talked about. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, no, like, well, that's it. That's again, it's if you feel like your legs are fading and you're playing this intense system, is it worth kind of tweaking the system? Like, energy levels are dropping. Let's throw a third in the midfield and kind of muck up the game, right? Because they kind of they stayed super open, and that was always a risk with the double pivot. Is that if you let it get exposed, if you're not super organized off the ball. That's where Canada got killed against Croatia. They were so unorganized off the ball, and that the double pivot Croatia was walking through the Netherlands in the second half. You've seen that, and I think that's the energy levels kind of, or at least maybe an adjustment could have been made. Or again, like you mentioned, the fact that Larin went about 70, 80, he wasn't already pressing a whole lot. You wonder.
Yeah.
Could you have put in like
he went long.
He went long, or someone to give you something different in your pressing, or Schwanier.
And David's going the full 90 here, obviously. So, but he's an engine, man. He was still running up until a minute ago. He was still trying to get the ball. But this game's pretty much done. I mean, well, it is done. It's 4-0. There's a lot of it's been done for a while. There's a lot of takeaways, like you said. We'll see what Marsh has to say about it in the first half, or about the first half and about the second half. We'll see what kind of lineup we put out against France, which is arguably, well, not even arguably, they are the better team. They're better than Netherlands. There's a lot of things to talk about after this, because at first we were all happy and joyful in the first 45, and now it's like, what happened, right? What happened?
What's the saying? It's the hope that kills you.
Hope that kills you.
It's the hope that kills you, man. And it killed me. Absolutely. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was way too optimistic going into the
Hey, you have to back the team, right?
I was optimistic.
That's why we love this sport, is that how many games you go into and you're just like, you're gonna win, and then you get battered, and then you're like, next game on Sunday you're like, you're gonna beat France. It's just,
we're gonna beat France on Sunday, Chad.
Guys, quickly, because just to let the chat know, once the game's pretty much over, it's going to go back to studio. KJ, Andy Petrillo, and Jordan Wilson. So we'll have to say our quick little goodbyes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the watch along. Keep on the stream, and we'll go into the studio for the post game. But quickly, guys, give me your biggest takeaway. You know, what did you learn from this match? Alex, we'll begin with you, and then give me your thoughts, and then I'll end it off.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of echo what I mentioned a bit earlier. And well, first off, I'll say, like, cheers to everyone for showing up and kind of seeing us think our live, how we analyze a match live and whatnot. I'd say the first 45 showed signs of what this system can do at its best. And then the last 45 really, I'm very curious to see how Marsh responds to what he saw in that last 45. Because, I think there was definitely enough good to go back and analyze. Like, all right, these are good things you want to build off of, but there's also enough bad where you're like, all right, those are some mistakes at the back that definitely need cleaning up, some errors that, again, maybe you get away with in CONCACAF. You're playing Honduras. You can have a sloppy game like this and still draw 2-2 or win 3-2. But when you're playing the Netherlands, you need a perfect game. And the unfortunate reality is that Canada actually probably hasn't made an outrageous amount of mistakes. Just the thing is, against a team like the Netherlands, pretty much every big mistake, or at least one in every two big mistake, ended up in your net, and that's the difference of playing at this level.
Yeah, Dima.
I am the same. What Alex is saying, man. It's a tale of two halves. We talked about it all second half here. Several errors, several mistakes that have led to 4 goals by the Netherlands. It just seemed like we're a completely different team in the second half in comparison to the first half. Again, it's going to be very interesting to see what Jessie Marsh says about it, how the players respond about it on Sunday. Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Chat, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And there's lots of big matches to come. France on Sunday and then Copa America. So hopefully the mistakes that were made, according to Jessie Marsh, and the visible mistakes that, you could see them night and day, could be fixed for Sunday and for the Copa America. That's it. And there's the final whistle, and it's 4-0. Yep. So
beautiful timing. Thanks so much for having us, guys. And
thanks, guys.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. So we'll see how long we have until we get moved over.
Yeah.
To come for Canada. Final score from Rotterdam, it's the Netherlands 4 and Canada 0.
Whistle has been blown inside Feyenoord Stadium. 4-0, the final between Canada and the Netherlands. The Canadians looking good in that first half. It was goalless after the first 45. Some changes made in that second half by the Dutch. Some tired legs by the Canadian. And 4-0 ends up being your final as we welcome you back inside our One Soccer studio. Matchday Live presented by CIBC. Andy Petrillo, Jordan Wilson, Christian Jack. Did you see much difference between the Canadians in the first half, second half? Just what was, or maybe even the Dutch, did you see a change that led to the score being what it ended up being in that second half?
Yeah, for sure. There's a change on both sides, but I'll focus on Canada. I feel like it's difficult, KJ, to go and press and to be compact for 90 minutes. and that's why there are two halves in football. I thought Canada were exceptional first half, keeping the game tight, hunting together. But as the game opened up, the Dutch had moments in the midfield specifically where they could break down Canada. But it's just hard to go and press and to hunt all the time. But this is one of those things that they'll learn, and this is the learning curve you need against such a great nation like Netherlands.
Yeah, it's a ruthless lesson, right? No doubt about it. I mean, ultimately, you know, were they beaten today comprehensively? Yeah, by the scoreline. I think there was parts in the game where you wouldn't say that. I don't think it was technically a 4-0 game, but this is what playing at the highest level is. This is when you play genuine world-class players and have combinations, and they can be ruthless in those moments. That's what they are. And, you know, I just think ultimately they'll be disappointed with the result. I'm sure Jessie Marsh will be interested into seeing and watching it back and seeing that they did play well in the first 45 minutes, and then why did it just, you know, rapidly decline in the second half. And there's elements to that where I think fatigue set in. And yeah, you have to remember, you're getting these players off the back of, many of them off the back of a very busy European season as well. And I suppose that would open some people up to asking, is that style the way that you need to be playing? But I think that's way too early to have that conversation right now.
Sure, and adjustments are always made in the second half. So if you want to come out and play that way and then just know that the other team's going to adjust to you, maybe those are the changes you make in the second. But somebody who caught our eye here and is our Gatorade performance of the match actually is on Netherlands, and that is Jeremy Frimpong. A goal and an assist here today, 23 years of age, plays for Bayer Leverkusen. First goal for country.
He'll score a lot more, KJ. If I had to bet my bottom dollar on it, he's had an excellent season. Coming in for the Netherlands today was a pain on that right side. He had a fantastic match.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about a little bit by showing a little bit of the tactical video that we could in the small time we had at half-time, was that, you know, if the Netherlands were going to get the results and the success, it was the path to success was wide.
Yeah.
And Canada were very compact and said, okay, try and beat us in wide areas. The Dutch are very good in wide areas, you know. Dumfries didn't even play, you know. There's a lot of other players out there.
Talent.
Yeah, talent that they have. But he was very good. And again, another player that is, you know, as you said, just been with Leverkusen, who've won almost, you know, they lost one game this season, which was their last in the European final, and dominated the Bundesliga. So he's coming from a culture of winning, and he's full of experience and confidence.
Yeah, we heard his name quite a bit in today's match. Someone else's name we heard, and also we were just keeping an eye on him, Dane St. Clair getting the start for Canada here, as there seems to be a changing of the guard in between the sticks. He made a good save at the end of the first half and then kept the saves coming in the second as well. This is the All-State save of the match, a big one here for Dane St. Clair. It does go out, it leads to a corner. Virgil van Dijk will end up scoring after that. But what did you make of this save in particular, KJ?
I thought he was excellent. I thought he was very athletic, very quick off his line, much like the one on Brian Brobby in the first half. Weghorst scores a ton of goals like that, where he reads the goalie, believes he's going down, and shoots across his body. And Sinclair was, I thought he had, you know, obviously people will look at the goal that he dropped, but that came off a deflection in the leg as well. So I thought he was a real positive on the night.
We said it pre-game, that's his strength, right? Shot stopping, but you know better than anyone, Andy. To come out, you have to stay big, look at the ball, make sure that you're cutting off an angle, but you can't go down too early. Players at that caliber will chip you, will pick a corner. You have to look at your demise and really say, I'm going to make a save, and that's what he did. And he was there to get a big hand on it. But even his leg, it was an athletic save. All in all.
We'll talk more about Dane St. Clair a little later on in the show. And even though we did think he had a pretty strong performance, you're right. I guess the score doesn't necessarily say the game that he had. But either way, we're going to highlight the goals that the Dutch ended up scoring. Let's take a look at the first one, KJ. Again, all of these goals coming in the second half. The Canadians very strong defensively in that first half.
Yeah, disappointing, I think, with this goal in the manner of that they lose the header right away there. And, you know, Schaffelberg loses the header, and I think that leads to the issue. And they start to lose duels in this moment. You know, and in this moment you can see there's the aforementioned Frimpong against Davies, and it's all very compact, right? It's all very defensively organized. And if you pause it right there for me, just at that moment, at this moment, Jordan, you think that defensively Canada have got a decent structure.
Yeah, decent. I mean, in an ideal world, I think they play it back, the Netherlands, and I want to see Canada, that back line, a leader, a voice, stepping them up 5 yards.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's play it through and show them on that then.
Yeah.
This is where they get too deep here.
For sure. In my opinion, step, boom. Like you see Canada, the back line's out of the frame right now. I'd love to see them
come out. Yeah.
And then it's okay if you drop again, but just allowing Netherlands to step a little bit.
Yeah, and if we can just back up a little bit there, just a little bit. We'll just back up. What I want to highlight here is that moment, Cornelius has to be here, right?
Yes.
At that moment, because he doesn't know where this ball's coming in. He doesn't know if Frimpong's going to have the beating of Davies. So we know that why Cornelius is here. And this is Brobby with Bombito in the middle there. So they've got the two players there. We can highlight two different areas. So let's talk about the fullbacks, okay? Fullback, left back here. This has got to be tighter, I think. Would you agree?
I would.
And then Johnston here on the eventual goal scorer.
Yeah, I want to talk about the two fullbacks. The one on the left back being Alphonso Davies. I think at this stage in international football, when you're 25 yards to your goal, you have to engage. I understand you're saying Frimpong come at you, but there's quality there. And if we could just go back a little bit quickly, I just want to highlight the other fullback in this situation. Keep going a little bit for me. Is Alistair Johnston, right? I think when you see players going into the box, if we could just go back I just want to highlight that one point. You need to go and screen. You need to screen players running into the box. Boom, right there. That is just one, KJ. It's not a foul. Put an arm out, drop your shoulder into a player's chest, just to deter them from going into the box and getting a clean run at goal. These are minor things, but they make a major difference if you don't do them correctly.
You can see in Alistair's body language right away that he knows he's missed
that one mistake,
that one error, and you can just sense it. Like he knows better than anybody. The defenders have got to cover. He's watching. Depay comes in, and then he's just lost him just that one split second later. And he would go off shortly after. Hopefully, it's not too much of an injury, but it looked like he got a bit of a niggle there in his leg.
The goals came quick and furious. They scored those 3 goals inside 13 minutes. Let's take a look at the second goal.
Yeah, this one, I'm going to defer to my defensive partner here a lot, but I think this is fascinating for me. I'm going to talk through it first, and I want to show you a particular clip that I want Jordan to highlight for us, because for me, it comes from pressing with Cornelius, and I know Davies gets exploited here by Frimpong again, and once he's in, that's a major problem, and this is sub-finish, by the way.
It is.
On your left foot, that balance into that corner. But for me, you're going to see a different angle in a second where we're going to show you how many men forward Canada has committed, and then the Cornelius press. And I really want Jordan to break it down, because I think at that moment, this is the big moment in the game. For me, you're down 1-0, you're still in it. But here, let's stick on this plan and let's stick on this look for a number of reasons, Jordan, and take us through it, because this is really where Canada's decline started.
Yeah, a little bit, right? And I think I totally agree with you, KJ. It's just something we want to break down in the Jessie Marsh era. For the first half, Canada pressed and they were compact. But you're going to get moments like this in a match where if you're looking at Wilnaman there and you see there Cornelius, eager. But that for me is a 10-yard run that you're never really going to get to. And as a defender, you want to keep attackers with their back facing their goal. You want to keep them that way as much as possible, right? But you can understand that Derek Cornelius can't do that in this situation. So for me, you're looking at the back four for Canada, that is a situation where you fall.
You have your narrow 4-2-2-2 for a reason.
Yes. And if they play through you, the Netherlands, that is the time to fall. So as we play it through, I just want to pause it quickly. Boom. You see there? Now you have 1, and then you have the 3 here, right? But look at all this space now that the Netherlands can go and attack.
Before you play it through, I don't want to take words out of your mouth, but that moment that ball is played into Wijnaldum, that is a planned move. Look at Frimpong.
Yeah, ready to go, because there's one going to the space, so they know that the real space is now in behind and wide. But I don't think that space happens if Cornelius stays here.
Right.
And look, he's had
he could track it with his pace.
Exactly. And he's had an amazing match, but these are the moments under Jessie Marsh's new system where you cannot press and go forward every time. There's sometimes you have to concede and say, you know what, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to fall, and I'm going to help Alphonso Davies. But now that Cornelius goes, Davies, again, it's poor shape, because he's looking at the ball, he's not ready to run in behind. But I don't think that happens if your center back stays right here. So as we play it through, then Canada's just playing catch-up, KJ.
And then he's onside.
He's onside. Davies has to run over. Bombito can't get there because he already has a man. Davies does well to get that first initial block. But what I'm trying to say is Canada's playing catch-up to already a Netherlands team that is going full steam ahead.
Yeah, that was a big moment in the game, because at 1-0 you're on the ropes, right?
Yeah.
And then when that happens, you could see it kills them. It killed the momentum. The substitutes come in. You never really got any rhythm in the game, and that was it.
Yeah, it was tough too. That was only 2 minutes after Canada made their substitutions as well. Let's take a look at the third goal.
Yeah, and I think at that point you're really just you're hanging on a little bit. This is a disappointing game, a goal for Sinclair. But again, you have possession of the ball. And for me, at that moment, Zator gets bossed off it. There's no real midfielders for showing for it. At that moment, you're quite stretched. Your defense I think, is a little bit too deep again. And look, I feel for them in the moment here in the half spaces. They're getting too much involved. But you know, for me, Davies there, you've got to stop that coming across. And then we have to have the conversation about clearances with Cornelius on the right foot.
We need to. For me, that is a minor thing in games, but it's a major outcome in terms of, look, I know he's reaching. I know that he's stepping there, Cornelius. But if he puts any type of airtime on that ball and they're able to step their lines, it's not a direct shot on Dane St. Clair. Of course, there are a few things that happened before then. But for me, the difference between the Netherlands or Canada or Van Dijk and Cornelius is those simple moments.
See it in the fourth goal, too.
Yeah, it's just able to lean back, get that ball cleared, and then you're able to step as a team. But if you play it on top of the box, the play is still alive, and that's what happened on the third goal.
Yeah, in that first half in particular, we knew Netherlands, they were looking so dangerous off set pieces. And then in that fourth goal, that's how that comes.
Yeah, and again, it's one of the things, a player that I love dearly as well, and I battled with him in the Canadian Premier League, Zator, and I know him. He's going to be disappointed with this clearance right there because it falls to him. And yes, is it clear? No, but at that point, when you're in the 6-yard box on a corner, it has to be in the stands. Right? It cannot just be back across. You have Van Dijk. You have all these players, KJ, that will go and hurt you and that are huge. Yeah. That can win area duels. And that's the fourth goal again. So these minor details make a major impact in the game.
Yeah, it was too easy, right? And at that moment, you know, like a game that looked like it was competitive at halftime, 1-0. Oh, maybe 2. Oh, they let the 1-2. Suddenly it's out of reach. And suddenly the scoreline doesn't necessarily tell the ideal, I don't think, narrative of what the match was, but it's a lesson that Canada asked for, they need, and they'll be better for it going forward.
Mentioned it in the pregame. You said just as much as we're talking about the Netherlands starting 11, it's who's not starting. They come on in as substitutions, and you see the depth of that nation. But it is the test that the Canadians have wanted. Well, at the end of the match week in the Canadian Premier League, usually this happens on Sunday. Following York United versus Vancouver, it is match night, talking about all things Canadian Premier League, also the national teams, and going around the world of soccer. Don't miss it, Sunday nights right here on One Soccer. When we come back, we will take a look at some of the Canadian chances here, and as well the new faces, or fairly new faces, getting the starts. Bombito, Dane St. Clair, Davies at that left-back position. How did we think they looked? That's what's coming up next on Match Day Live, presented by CIBC on One Soccer.
Do we really have any choice at all?
Everyone has a choice, and every choice has a consequence.
Which do you choose?
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
How do you choose?
This is not just laundry. This is laundry that's one and done. This is the ultra-fast combo laundry machine that does both washing and drying cycles, so you can take a load off. This is cleaning large loads in about 2 hours. No more checking, no more forgetting. Profile is revolutionizing laundry, making any room the laundry room. This is GE Profile.
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
Full-time stats between Netherlands and Canada, 4-0. The final here for the home side. 20 shots, 11 of them on target, 61% possession for the Dutch as they get set for the European Championships. Canada, as we know, are preparing for Copa America. And we know that with this being Jessie Marsh's first game as head coach of the Canadian men's national team, there are a lot of players that he's looking at. He's trying to figure out chemistry, the partnerships that work. Dane St. Clair is the one who got the start here today between the sticks. And yes, it was a 4-0 final. We're also trying to figure out not just who will play against France, but more than anything, who will be the starting 11 heading into Copa America. If you're Jessie Marsh, though, score aside, result aside, how are you feeling about St. Clair's performance? I don't think there's anything there that I would say that he doesn't deserve another chance. And Crepeau would say that he deserves a chance, right? For sure. Jessie Marsh told me yesterday that, Dane St. Clair's earned this because of what he's done in training. Does that mean that he's penciled in Crepeau to have another game before Copa America? It certainly could. But I think Dane did really well, and it's not an easy game. And, of course, that one spill was deflection, so that will be an area that he'll want to clean up. But he was heavily involved, and I think he definitely... I liked his distribution, particularly in the first 30 minutes, which I think Canada had a very good first half an hour. And all in all, I thought it was something that he should probably be rewarded with another chance.
I think so, KJ. I would give it to him. Solid performance. Look at the save right here. They can't get enough of that because that is huge. I think with a keeper, I always judge making the saves you're supposed to make, right? If you can go and bail your team out, which he just did right there, that's nice. The goal, the third one, where it goes between someone's leg and your reaction time is very finite. I understand that's difficult, but chemistry and flow between the team, just even hearing him or the way that he's speaking to this back line, yeah, I think give him another shot. I think he looked like a promising keeper for Canada. What did you make of Canada's chances?
Yeah, look, I think that they were very bright in the first half an hour, and I think that they had opportunities, and people will talk about the Kyle Larin chance right before halftime, rightly so. And that's probably their number one opportunity, right? You're not going to get many chances like this. And we didn't see enough of this in the second half, that kind of combination play, Coney getting forward, all those moments. So you can see the body language, what the players, when they saw Larin miss that they knew that was their opportunity, right? We haven't talked much at all about Eustáquio, and I think that he had a good game. I thought that he played really well in this moment. And Schaffelberg coming on, I think at that moment, he doesn't want to take that extra touch, but there's nobody with him in that moment in the box for him to supply it. And that speaks to his pace as well. And you needed somebody in that box at that moment. This is a great delivery. Just weren't able to get on the end of it. But all in all, you could see that they've got pace in those areas. But I thought the Dutch managed what could be a dangerous Canada lethal attack, particularly in transition, very well.
I want to highlight how difficult it is when you defend and you're so compact to break, to go forward. Like, the energy that it takes, I thought Jonathan David was exceptional, like he always is, in terms of gambling and trying to get into those areas. But you're talking about a team that's sitting back, defending in their half, being compact. You win the ball and you're trying to go forward 70 yards, 60 yards at time. Schaffelberg obviously has that pace on the wing you saw in the second half. But you're asking bodies to keep flying forward after you've just defended and just covered so many kilometers defending. So it's like you really can't have both at full speed all the time. So, again, that's another teaching or a situation for Jessie Marsh and the Canada side to learn from. But just watching is you can't have both. So if you want a team that was more resolute and compact and hard to break down, that's what we saw. But it's hard to also, on that same note, go out and be an attacking team as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Schaffelberg just has the jets, and we've seen him do this at the club level. The second he comes on as a sub, he really does change the dynamic, and he just kind of creates chaos in the final third for the opposition. But Canada unable to capitalize and get any goals here tonight. 4-0, the final. Depay getting one of those goals. The Dutch getting set for Euros. Canada getting set for Copa. More coming up here on Matchday Live, presented by CIBC on One Soccer.
To play, It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Christine Sinclair as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alfonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
Next up for Canada, they'll make their way to Bordeaux and take on world number 2 France. That's right here on One Soccer. Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Another tough test for the Canadians. The big question mark is always going to surround the top player on the team, and that, of course, is Alfonso Davies. We've seen him play in different positions on the pitch for the national team, and he does start in his position, which he plays for at the club level, and that is as left back. Lots of opinions, a lot of polarizing opinions on where he should play with the national team. How did you feel about today?
I felt like first half was obviously better than the second. I think that this is a player that has so much talent, but I already know what's going on online or what people might be saying watching the match. Maybe he's wasted there. The defending should be a bit better. But I think that's just what the quality and what he possesses and the expectations that come with that. Definitely for me, you have to engage a bit more. If we're going to be critical about being a left back, first thing you want to do for a defender is defend. And those situations where you're seeing Frimpong run at you, maybe that's a situation where you engage earlier. But I'm not going to really judge and take the full thing in off of one performance. I think for me, seeing him at left back is where he should be, at least for now. And all in all, I thought it was a decent performance.
Look, he raises the standards, right? So with those standards that he raises, that I think expectations have risen as well. So we're holding him to a higher level than almost everybody else who puts on that shirt. So let's do that. And I think he would hold himself, and he always does. He would say, okay, goal 1, goal 2, and goal 3 came from my side. And what can I do to be better in those moments? Small margins, not necessarily involved in all of those. I think how do I word this? I think the reputation of Davies a lot is summed up in my mind by people see him in the YouTube highlight era, that they just think of him as this rampaging sprinter who just goes down the wing all the time and sends in these crosses, and we're wasting him because why is he not doing that for Canada? Like, he is legitimately called by many as one of the greatest left backs on the planet. And that's a defensive position. He is very good at defending in one-on-one positions. Otherwise, you could not cut it. You could not win Champions Leagues and play for Bayern Munich. So I think we have to say that defensively, this is where we need his help, and he can bring that, and he will. And everyone just wants to see what does he do with the ball. But defensively, he has the ability to shut down some of the best players in arguably the most dangerous area in modern-day football, the wide area where you can come inside and be that inside forward where players are scoring more goals and 9s now than ever before. And he has the ability to shut that down against the best in the world. So I think for me, we have to remember the expectations should be higher. But right now, I'm still comfortable in that position where he's playing. He's the best left back for Canada by a mile, and he should be playing in that position.
A few times he did get up front. We saw that in particular in the first half, did have a couple shots. When the opportunity presents itself, now again, when you're looking at the opponent, Netherlands, perhaps not as many opportunities, but you're convinced that against other opponents, we would probably see him get a little higher up the pitch at more times.
Yeah, I think it's the type of day. Like, I feel like I'm picking up where you're laying down, Andy Petrillo. I think, obviously, you're playing the Netherlands. You're not having the ball the same way. You're also having Frimpong, who had the season of his life running at you. And the way that Netherlands set up, he's just out on the touchline. You can't ask Alfonso Davies with this compact system to go and stand by him and ask him what he's eating. Like, you can't do that. He needs to be tucked in. He needs to be close to to Cornelius and Bombito and then maybe go out. But I think it's fair for us to be like, he could be a bit closer. He could engage more because that is what he brings. I also think him going forward, he's dynamite, but defenders can always defend better. That is something that you ask them. You could always tweak a little thing, body positioning, whatever it might be. But I think that's his spot. I think that him leading from the back, having all that space running forward is for him. It's just certain days require certain things. I think today it required resolute defending. And I think across the back line it was great. But there's still areas you need to tweak. Obviously, there are 4 goals. So you have to look at yourself, lick your wounds, go to tape, and be like, these are areas that we could get better as a unit.
Yeah, I don't think if he's playing in a higher position that the outcome is drastically different.
Fair.
And he may not have had as many touches on the ball. He may not have been involved either. So there wasn't a lot of possession-based football where they could show their patterns and their style, where you could maybe have Johnston and Cornelius come over and it suddenly turns into a 3, and Buchanan tucks in and Davies goes and Miller comes inside. There wasn't a lot of that today. They didn't get chances to build up, mainly because of the opponent. And by the way, they're not going to get against France either. So you have to understand where they are and where, in those elements. But there are moments in the match where he can be better defensively. He'll understand that. But the standards are high for him, and I think he set them, and we should be celebrating that.
Speaking of France, you're right, it doesn't get any easier. Do you think Jessie Marsh is like, this was one game, I still need to see my system in a second game, and you don't expect much change, or do you expect any kind of change?
Oh, I don't think we'll be seeing any changes to a style of play and a way that he wants to play. I think we should just put that aside. Like, this is a very confident, authentic manager who knows the way that he wants to play the game, regardless of the opponent, and will be playing that way. Look, there's tweaks to this, and maybe they need to bring another midfielder in or defensively, but these opponents are tough, and it's never going to be easy to play against them.
You mentioned tweak. I think that's one thing, highlight on the second goal with Cornelius. Just what's the plan B a little bit? We want to press, we want to be in the face, we want to be on the front foot as Canadians. What happens when that breaks down? What happens if we don't have the legs? What happens if there's a bit of space? This is not something that's going to be fixed in the next match, but it's just a question I have for moving forward with this club.
You will slide and you will tackle for plan A, but you're right. You always have to have a plan B. So here today against the Netherlands, it's a 4-0 loss for Canada. Then on Sunday, they take on the French right here on One Soccer. Thanks for tuning in to Matchday Live presented by CIBC. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you in a couple days.